Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, it penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. I'm a Jedi, like my father before me.
All right, hello everyone. Cade from the Legends Library here, joined with Tristan as always.
Hi.
And I'm sure you're all wondering where we've been for the past couple months. Well, as it happens, we've just gotten super famous, and we've been flying all around the world, hanging out with supermodels and movie stars. Gallivanting at Hollywood galas and the such. But
Indeed,
for the
we're
more,
reptile aliens.
yeah, exactly. But for the more mundane answer, actually, we're both just boring human beings who get busy.
We can't work out a work schedule for the life of us.
No, it's more or less just at each other on the Discord and be like, hey, when works? And then some random thing comes up. Or I'm in the middle of, like, nowhere because that's what I do for my job sometimes.
Or I haven't read any of the comic books we're supposed to be talking about.
Well, to be fair, that only happened for the first couple months, and then for the next couple months, it was my fault. So we equally share the blame for Legacy Part 3 being like literally like months delayed. I don't know the exact number because I just stopped counting because it was just wow. It's 10
makes me
issues of the
sad.
comic book, and it takes us like months to get through it.
We're at a fine pace now, I guess. Hopefully. I don't know. Holidays are coming up.
Yeah, the holidays are coming
will
up.
be March.
March of 2020. But I suppose in order to make up for lost time, we can jump into some not necessarily like bad, but like just definitely not as interesting as the rest, which doesn't help trying to get through it. And starting off with issue 20, which I had the fortune of not reading for the last episode because, unlike Tristan, I read at the omnibus pace, which did not have issue 20 in it. So I got away with not reading it.
I did not. I had to suffer the consequences, and like you said, it's not bad. It's just really boring by comparison. I don't care about any of these characters at all.
Yeah, and actually, while I was at work today, I kind of thought of why it isn't as interesting, and I think it's because we get the like advantage of being able to just binge read it, but I feel like this would have been kind of like an interesting change of pace. Like when it was coming out, I don't know if it was coming out like monthly or 2 times a month, but like for example, like when I'm reading like the current Spider-Man comics coming out, like when it's like a side thing, I'm like, oh wow, cool, this is really interesting. But I'm sure binge reading it, I would be like, oh wow, this is terrible. I want the main cast back.
See, I'm kind of the opposite though, because I mean, when you have to wait so long, you get this really shitty spin-off of characters you don't really give a shit about. I lose interest, but it's fine. People are different. I'll be agreeable for once in my life. All I'm
Yeah.
saying is that I don't want an episode dedicated to the Iron Squadron and Rebels when you promised me Darth Maul, and it's bullshit.
Yeah, I suppose that would be interesting if I had ever watched that show more than
Please don't.
clips off YouTube. But anyways, on to something that at least is definitely better than Rebels, which would be issue 20 of Legacy.
I
It
will
opens
agree with
up.
that.
Yeah, it opens up with Darth Azard, who what he lacks in any really interesting characterization, he makes up for in a really cool aesthetic.
It kind of reminds me of oh god, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but SWTOR aesthetic, because the Inquisitors have this sort of, they have like almost the exact same spell, except it's smaller, and it's kind of unnatural. Like his shoulder pad or whatever is kind of, you know what I mean. It's all wraps and shit. I like it. It looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool, and with the one Sith, like their like black like armor or robes, it works really well because it contrasts with like their red, either probably naturally for some of the species or giant tattoo, I guess, for others because there are humans in the one Sith who are
Yeah, it
also
makes Darth
red.
Maul look like a bitch.
Yeah. But no, like I'm a simple man. Like red and black is a very good, easy aesthetic to go by.
It's the best color combination by far.
I don't know about best because
It's one of the best.
cobalt blue and gold exists, but
What about
besides
red and purple gray Jedi?
well, purple and red's a pretty cool color combination if you want to use both sides of the Force. But on to the actual story. Besides Darth Azard's aesthetic, you open up and he's upset because they still haven't found Gar Stasi, which clearly they're out there to do.
And is the only interesting character in this spinoff.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like for the first 3 issues, you don't get any Cade, you get Darth Krayt for 1 issue, literally 1, and
that's interesting. I will say, I do like the subjugation.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, but I really love. For me, it's one of the most like underappreciated thing about Star Wars comics, and to a lesser extent the movies. But it's just like capital ships in space. Like it just looks awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially like the first time you see the Executor, which in the original film, the regular Imperial class Star Destroyer, whatever, is supposed to be this massive thing, and then in Empire, you juxtapose that to the Super Star Destroyer, and it dwarfs it. It's just they're so pleasing to the eye, and I love this class of ship anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I could go on and on and on and on for how much I love the Pelion class Star Destroyer, but over on we keep going through, and there's a nice amount of diversity in the Empire. Darth Krayt's definitely not a racist because he's got a Quarren Sith Lord who's clearly in charge of the whole thing here, yelling at a Keldor bridge crew or something who doesn't have any eye protection, so his eyes should be exploding.
This is the diversity I need. I don't care about human races. I want to see aliens and shit.
Yeah, it works really well because like you can notice that like literally from the 4 people like in the panels for these first couple pages, only half of them are human, and then the other 2 are 2 different species, which like it works very well because obviously in Star Wars, because it's made by filthy, disgusting humans, humans are like always the predominant species, but it's really cool like versus like Galactic Civil War Empire, who has human. You get some cool alien diversity thrown in there, and he quickly though does get rid of a fourth of the diversity by cutting off the face mask of the Keldor, which obviously he's dead.
He splits his face in half vertically.
Yeah, which is I like that you see it off panel. It leaves that little bit of gratuitous to the imagination.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then
he is in fact racist.
Yeah. But then he puts Admiral Mustache, Admiral Valen, in charge of the fleet, and now he has to try and find. It's a very like obvious callback to Vader in Episode 5, who's just offing commanders left and right.
A little less subtle. I do really like his lightsaber design though. It's like Ventress's, and it's a curved double hilt, a double saber.
Yeah, which is like really cool until you realize that like it wouldn't work. Well, it wouldn't work well anyways.
It's also really tiny in his hand. It just seems like a good way to get yourself killed.
Yeah, and then they set up a little bit of history between this Admiral Valen and Admiral Stacey, because he literally says it's very like kind of exposition-y, which is nice because you can get away with it in a comic book because it's such a visual medium. But he says that Admiral Stacey escaped him at the Battle of Kalmas.
And they actually show it too, don't they?
Well, they show it later, but at this point, it's
Yeah.
kind of just exposition.
Yeah, that's how you want to use your exposition. You want to present it as part of the story, as opposed to being like spouted on and like pages worth of text.
Yeah, it works well, and then he goes on about how he's studied Stacey's escape and all that, and again, Darth Azard does the Vader thing, and he's like, "Well, don't fail me," because he knows
Yep.
he knows what's going to happen. And then it cuts over to Mon Calamari / Dak, which they, I think originally, and I might be wrong, in the EU, I think Mon Calamari was always Dak, and then they changed it, which is pretty inconsiderate to all the Quarren living on the planet, but
The planet's like split 50-50, isn't it?
yeah, like pretty close too, but
More
I mean,
racism.
more space racism, yeah. But I think it's because the Quarren are like all the bad guys siding with the Separatists and stuff, and the Mon Calamari always side with the Republic and the rebels. So it's how you get screwed over in the galaxy. Join the Separatists
Side of the
and
victor.
yeah. But no, they set it up good, and again, they fill you in on how Mon Calamari's always been some of like the biggest shipyards of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not getting points in the aesthetic area, but they're effective.
I really like it. It's kind of like like Kuat has like the same thing going on, where they just have the big like Redox and stuff around the planet. I think it looks cool, like because it's
I
very
think
like
the ring around the planet's great. I just don't like their capital ships.
the GA capital ships.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to talk about the Star Destroyers, and I was going to.
Oh no, the Star Destroyers are fantastic. It's the alternative.
There's worse, but then we cut to two Mon Calamari. One of them is Gial Gahan. That might be how you pronounce it. I'm not a fish man, so I'm not really sure.
Any strength of will I had memorizing these characters' names dissipated a long time ago.
Yeah, but they're kind of just going back and forth about how Admiral Stacey wants to steal like the Star Destroyer that's being built in the dry docks.
Indeed. And they have a Toydarian spying on them. And wait, is this Dash Rendar's ship?
It's probably like a similar model, kind of like how like obviously like back in in like that time period you would be able to buy like a YT freighter, and it just so happened that like the most famous ship ever. So I mean, it's probably one of those things where like obviously you can buy like a Dodge, you can buy like an orange Dodge Challenger, but it's not the General Lee. For a lame real-life car comparison.
It's a nice callback, though. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good-looking ship. Like, I always love, like, with the freighters, at least, I love, like, the asymmetrical designs.
Oh, me too.
But then...
The Falcon, Ebon Hawk, those are among my favorites.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then we get the female Mon Calamari and I don't remember her name. It's again, it's not bad. It's not that it's bad. It's just it's kind of hard to like get through.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So they go on about how they have everything that Admiral Stacey wants, and there's a Tradarian sitting over in the corner, and he looks kind of evil. So I think we can get where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Which, how did they not see him? Because he's a little floating, like, lizard man with tusks. Like, Troidarians would be like the worst species to be a spy.
I don't disagree.
Like you could have like a Bothan, but that'd be too normal. But you could literally have anything else.
Having just come off the Thrawn trilogy, you could have the Defels. I think I would prefer to see a Defel over a Toydarian, but it's fine. I'm still not understanding the difference between Defel and Chistavinen, but it's all fine. It all works out.
Well, there's different species of dogmen.
Ah, of course.
Yeah. But then we cut over to the GA fleet, which has apparently capital ships you don't like, which is weird because they're just a throwback to the Hammerhead ships from KOTOR.
Hold on, I have to see this. I have to know if I'm spewing bullshit or not. Okay, never mind. These are fine. I was thinking Mon Calamari capital cruisers and
the flying deuces.
Yes.
With wings.
Oh my god, I scrolled down and I saw Admiral Valen's legs and they're spread so far out.
But no, so we cut to them and there's a fight between a Dug and a human.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Klatooinian. Again, like there's a lot of diversity. And in the back there's a Bith.
And they're all familiar too.
Yeah, no, it's nice. Like you get all the familiar ones. That is the thing though. I don't think Legacy really like introduces any new aliens, which is fine because they have every single like alien that you could ever want. There's even a Iktachi in the background of one of the shots.
Oh yeah, Star Wars has so many. I don't think you really need them. I mean, it would be nice to have another one, but I think it's fine.
Yeah, we go through, and eventually it's the fight's interrupted by the CO, who's a Weequay, and he has a name that I'm hoping you remembered.
Nope. I just know that he's under Stasi, and he's like second in command, or like third in command, or something. I think third or something. Yeah,
well, at least he's very recognizable because he's a buff, jacked Weequay.
All I could think of was Robot Chicken and the one in the Sarlacc pit with Boba.
Literally, whenever I see a Weequay, that's all I can think anymore. Which I don't know if is good or bad.
I'm gonna say good. I hope it's good.
Well, good for Robot Chicken at least.
Yeah.
But then we get to see like pretty much the two like only really recognizable characters in these first couple issues, and that's Stacey and his second in command, J.S.
Sullustan guy.
Yeah. J.S. Yorub, that's his name.
Yorub. See, you say he's the most recognizable in the Galactic Alliance, but we don't even know his name.
Well, I had it written down. I just had to find it, which in all reality should not have been hard given my notes for this. But then, but like in all reality, like Stacey's like he's a very interesting character. Like
I agree.
He's very fun to read, and I wish he was in more of these first couple issues.
I agree. He's definitely a bright spot in the Galactic Alliance conflicts right now.
Which is very unfortunate because recently I've been splitting my time between reading the NJO books and some prequel era stuff, and going from Galactic Alliance being like super awesome, fun to read, to oh wow, these guys are there. It's kind of a little of a juxtaposition, but then we get a cool flashback, and you can tell it's a flashback because it has a weird filter over it. But Cole Skywalker's there, which is cool because everybody loves Cole because he's also jacked.
God, the way they just tested it.
and he has like the deepest V-neck of like all time.
Why are you even wearing a shirt at that point?
Yeah, but Cole and his sideburns is talking with the GA, which is really fun, and they're talking about killing or capturing Emperor Fel because they're meeting with. I think they were meeting with the Sith or the Chiss, one of the two. But they're just having a big discussion about the war that's going on, because obviously this is a flashback to before the series started. And then Admiral Stacey correctly points out that, well, this is probably going to be a trap.
Look, I'm going to let you take the reins because I don't really care about any of this, and I don't remember it either.
We'll see. I was hoping, since you had been mentioning that you've been reading the Hand of Thrawn duel, that since all this stuff happens at Ka Mass,
I can't talk about. Kamaz is interesting. I really like the Kamazi as a people and their abilities, but Kamaz can't catch a break. Apparently, because you go
Yeah.
from major conflicts like this, and you have also genocide.
Yeah,
Without
well,
planetary destruction. All in all, it's not great though.
well, I mean, it does better than Coruscant, I guess.
That's true.
But yeah, then we basically just get the fill in the present day that Ka Mass was a trap. It's literally the first thing that they say back in the present. And Stacey's basically talking about how the Star Destroyer that they want to steal from Mon Calamari, is probably also a trap because it's just too obvious.
As it always is.
Yeah, but then we cut to the totally not a spy, Troy Darien, talking to our admiral on the Star Destroyer, and yeah, he basically just spills the beans, and then they sabotage the ship that they were going to steal, I think is what they do. Because then Stacey jumps into system, which is a really cool shot. I really, really love that shot of
I agree.
Stacey coming in, and there's all the other Star Destroyers that I think they're like they like kind of hyperspace in, I guess, behind him, which is really cool. And why the hell don't they just do that all the time?
This is also true.
Probably because it wouldn't make for good movies. But
It's a beautiful 2-page spread, though.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Unfortunately, I read it on my tablet, so I don't get the coolness of a 2-page spread.
Indeed.
But no, it's a really awesome shot. Like, I'm sure it's the shot that comes up if you Google like Pelion class Star Destroyer.
Oh, definitely one of them.
Yeah. Then we cut to a really good shot where Admiral Valen is like halfway to the splits while he's addressing Admiral Stacey, who, in comparison, is standing like very stoically and heroically in his like flowing, like really cool, like looking admiral's uniform.
Yeah, the man has a cape.
Yeah, he has a cape and like a robe. But I really like the line where there's only one choice left: to surrender or be destroyed. Which will it be? And Admiral Stacey just says, "Ka Mass." And then the issue ends, which means obviously, suicide.
Indeed.
But then we open up in issue 21, which has a really cool cover. It's very simple but effective.
Mine is loading. Okay, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very cool. It doesn't match what we've seen him as previously, but. Is this a flashback? No, it's not the flashback. He has shorter pants. Never mind. It looks cool.
Yeah, because then you open up and he has some also very cool. I think the GA's like look is very cool. It's like practical, but like still recognizable as like what it is. It's not just like an Empire or Rebellion ripoff.
Mm-hmm. It's more It's more aesthetically pleasing than I give it credit for. I do like the shoulder pads that they all have.
Yeah, no, I like it. All looks really good, and obviously, like again, the two most like interesting, fun characters to read are front and center right there, talking about how at this flashback, they're taking heavy casualties because it was a trap, and then we get Admiral Veed showing back up, who's making an appearance from the last couple series. Correct me. Oh no, it is Grand Admiral Veed. I did have that written down, not just Admiral Veed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they talk about how the hyperspace lanes are mined. Again, why don't they just always do that?
I was going to ask the same thing.
But yeah, Stacey, obviously he's the good guy, so he's not going to surrender because apparently that's what good guys do, surrender bad. And then they go on about how they're trapped. They lose one of their ships, and they jump to hyperspace because apparently they just have other hyperspace lanes.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I do like. I like how the other commander is like, that's a not good idea. Like we could just jump into a sun.
Oh yeah, well it all goes back to the first line in the first Star Wars movie where they talk about hyperspace is not like dusting crops. I think that's around the line. I don't know.
Yeah, well, because I always like that about Star Wars. Like, obviously, the big hyperspace lanes, like the Hydian Way, it's basically like driving on it's like driving on the interstate. Like everything's gonna be fine. But then you can take the weird side road that you've never been on before,
Yeah.
and there might be a cult or jump into a star. One of the other. Or a star, yeah. But obviously they lose that one ship, and then they jump on their lesser known ones. And then we cut back to the president, and I really I don't know why, I've always liked the little panel of Stacey saying, "Very well, I shall attack." And
no, it's my favorite panel in this issue.
He kind of it's kind of like a shit-eating grin, which I like it because it shows that he has a plan, he's thought this through, he's not doing it just to fight to die.
He also has personality too. He's not just completely stoic or cold. And it's nice to have that in a commanding officer, especially in comparison to the Empire.
Oh yeah, because Admiral Splits is he's just straightforward like Imperial. He's doing everything exactly what he's ordered. He's very strict about it and everything, and it works. You get the juxtaposition between the GA, who are obviously the good guys, and the Empire, who are the bad guys.
Ironically enough, the Nemoidian is more human than the actual human.
I think you mean Duro. Definitely not a Nemoidian.
Is he Duro?
Not to sound like a space racist, but can you really tell the difference? I always thought I always thought he was a Duro, but I guess I might just be wrong. Maybe I just wanted him to be a Duro so he wouldn't be a Nemoidian.
But if he is a Nemoidian, I have to read all of his dialogue over again in a Japanese accent.
Oh God!
It's canon, damn it.
Oh boy, I don't like that. He's a Duro.
You could thank George Lucas for that.
But yeah, the Imperials are doing their normal thing where they're concentrating all the fire on the guys, but they keep getting it's not working because Stacey has a plan. I should know, but I don't know what his plan was.
I don't remember. It's been so long.
But yeah, on an interesting fun note, they do end up taking back control of the Imperius, which is the Star Destroyer that they were there to.
Oh yeah, he's planted Galactic Alliance members on the crew.
After the Star Destroyer had been taken back by the Empire after they had already taken it. So it's like a fun little back and forth like espionage thing. Like it's really fun. Like no one side like totally stomps the other side.
Also, I just looked, and he is a Duro, so you can sleep well.
Oh, thank God! I'll be able to sleep after this. But a tiny little thing that I like is whoever is pointing the gun at that Imperial lieutenant is using a DL-44, which is cool because it's it's like the most iconic blaster from Star Wars.
Pre-order Legacy, and you can get it at the start. Thank you, Battlefront 2015.
Yeah, like he had his pre-order bonus, like he was ready to go. But yeah, the Imperial Admiral is upset, and he's basically just telling everyone to focus on Stacey, which again, like it's a very Imperial like thing to do. Like it's very kind of
tunnel vision.
Yes, tunnel vision. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like he's focusing totally on like the one thing when they're losing a Star Destroyer, which like even in the movies, like Star Destroyers are a huge deal.
Oh yeah, and especially with what is the state of the Galactic Alliance right now? Because I don't remember. How many ships do they have?
How many ships? I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure that what they have at Mon Calamari here is like the bulk of their forces.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then Stacey has the really cool thing where he puts the Mon Calamari shipyards between him and the Imperials, so that way he forces them to send out their fighters, which is cool because Star Wars dogfighting is like super aesthetic.
Exactly, and I like both of these ships here.
Yeah, I think they're TIE Predators, and
I think that's right.
I can't remember what like the B-wing / X-wing things are called, but like they look really cool, and it's really cool homage without being like rip-offy.
Yeah, it's advanced, definitely.
Yeah, like it's cool because in Star Wars you never see technology, so it's nice to see at least the Star Wars have moved forward. But yeah, no, you get some cool shots of dogfighting and the like the banter between. I might not know any of their names, but reading the banter between like the Rogue Squadron members was really fun to read because they're like the dialogue in these comics, like it's always very well written, like it's very believable. Like I buy that like these squad mates are like saying that to each other while they're having a dogfight.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty consistent, and it's very humanizing too. Like you said, I don't remember any of the names, but they're very they feel very real.
Yeah, and for some reason we're rooting for a Doug, which doesn't seem right.
Yeah. We're getting really racist on this one.
Well, I mean, when the only thing that happens with Dougs in the movies is Sebulba, who's like the biggest asshole somehow in episode 1.
And the Elandamorians to the Trade Center.
Yeah. Then we cut back to Stacey, who's, they're offering cover fire. And then again, like, Admiral Valen is like he's just being a dick. He's like talking about how literally only Stacey's important and everyone else is rabble. Like, and Stacey is the key. And
to be fair, he kind of is, but it's also like a deep-seated hatred for the guy.
Oh yeah, because like he had escaped once, and obviously, like if he escapes again, well, we know what happens.
Yeah.
But like again, like he has the very bad guy Imperial thing of like he's not afraid to blow up that section of the docks. Like he's willing to just fire through it, which I mean it works because like clearly Stacey wasn't expecting it because like they take a full on hit straight to the bridge because like there's a big explosion.
Mm-hmm. And they mess up his glorious robes and some tragic.
Terrible. He's gonna the bill for the tailor for the Galactic Alliance is probably through the roof from Admiral Stacey alone.
This is Corellian silk, damn it.
But yeah, him and his second command are like they're messed up, and then Admiral Valen relays back to him, and he asks if he's prepared to surrender, and
he looks like such a bitch in this hollow projection.
Well, he's getting all like
stupid mustache.
I don't think there's anything wrong with mustaches.
No, his mustache. It's fine. Yours is fine. You're good.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, my beard's growing back. There's no more mustache.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That was temporary. Unfortunately, no one gets to see that. That's a no one wants to see that. Let's
look. Our dreams are to write for Star Wars one day when the EU comes back, and we can't be shit talking Disney or they'll off us like Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, of course, yeah. But then we get kind of like a reverse villain monologue where Stacey is telling Admiral Valen about his plan to take the Indomitable to the heart of the shipyards and blow it up. Which seems like it probably doesn't help that recently I've also been like rewatching a lot of the James Bond movies, but that seems like such a James Bond villain thing to do.
It's exactly what one would do.
Which is cool because again it shows that Stacey isn't just some moral he's not like an Admiral Akbar wouldn't do that.
You know, he's not all hoity-toity. Like he's doing it with a smile on his face.
Yeah, but I like it because it also shows that he's willing to give himself up to deal such a major blow to the Empire.
So the Weak Way comes in and tries to interrupt him from sacrificing himself. He's reluctant to say the least, and then he just slugs Admiral Stacey.
Yeah, and then
amazing panel.
Oh, I love it because Captain J.S. the Sullustan, he's like, "Oh, Lieutenant, do your duty," and then he just punches Admiral Stacey in the face.
Executive decision.
It works on a couple of levels because obviously it's just like a tiny little bit of comic relief in this dire situation where Admiral Stacey was about to suicide bomb himself, but also it shows how important Stacey is.
Oh, Valen isn't wrong. He is the key, but he's just losing sight of everything in order to get him when the Galactic Alliance is pretty small to begin with, so you don't really need to cut the head off the dragon or the Hydra or whatever the hell.
I think it's cut the head off the snake.
Yeah, sure, there.
But yeah, then he I don't know why there's a panel with Valen where he's pointing outside and yelling at his little second in command. I don't know why I always found that panel unintentionally hilarious. Maybe it's just because of the way he's drawn.
Valen he's a funny character to look at.
Yeah, he looks like he's kind of a greasy dude with the mustache and a little pointy goatee.
He's like a silent film villain.
He does. If he kind of twirled up his mustache, he would fit right in the 1930s.
I agree. So the Hammerhead is headed right towards the ring around Dak and blows the hell up. And
yeah.
I love Valen's reaction to this.
Oh yeah, but before we get there, I love the little monologue that J.S. Yorub gives about how even though they've lost some battles, the Alliance is still alive and they haven't surrendered, and they don't concede the stars and they will win back their birthright. And then it cuts to the Indomitable flying into the shipyards, and just the little speech bubble is freedom, and then it blows up. But yeah, no, Valen's reaction is just Well, he fucking offs himself.
Yep.
Like,
Next panel, he has a gun in his hand. He's just looking at it.
yeah, and then it cuts away, which, again, it's like a very, like, it shows, like, he walks on, like, he says that he's, he's going to go to his quarters, and then he kind of snaps at his subordinate, and he's like, well, you do whatever the damn well you please, it doesn't matter to me. And then it shows him walking off, and, like he looks very dejected, and then he grabs his blaster, which, for some reason, to me, it looks like a drill, but it's besides the point. And then,
Point being, he offs himself.
Yeah, he offs himself. And then we cut back to the rendezvous point. So obviously they have stolen that Star Destroyer, and it's probably the NJO fan in me, but I really like the contrast of like New Republic or GA ships with like a Star Destroyer flying with them. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. I've always just liked that.
I have yet to read those books, but I have the first 3.
Yeah, again on the ship, I think they say no. They're still calling it the Imperius. I think later they rename it to a more non-Empire name. But
I thought they did too.
Yeah, on the ship, you do not see an entire human for the rest of the book. You see a Bothan, the Weequay, the I'm a Gun Die species, which I can never remember.
Oh. Well, damn. Now I don't remember.
Yeah, and then you see a Thorian, I think a Mon Calamari. And
Nikto.
Nikto, thank you. Yes, that's what they are. They look kind of like Walmart brand Weequay.
That's fair.
Then you see an Thorian and a Mon Calamari, and then 2 that are kind of drawn, kind of just blobby, but no humans.
No. Which is interesting too, because the Empire is not racist. But I like seeing species diversity in Star Wars. It makes it feel like Star Wars, and I one day dream of having a main character that is not human.
Yeah, well, I mean that's why I, whenever I do any kind of Star Wars RPG, I try and cram my Bothan OC in there, but.
But you have this, you have so many options to choose from, and then you stick with bland human, and it just gets tiresome.
Yeah, and then we do get a very important couple lines between Stacey and the Weequay, which apparently his name is Joram Bay, going over how some from the Indomitable, some of the crew members were able to use escape pods, and that the Mon Calamari are hopefully sheltering them. And then, for some reason, as a punishment, Joram Bay is promoted to captain. But I like the little back and forth between them. Like, obviously, it's not a punishment, but it's really good because he obviously in the end did his he did the best thing for the Alliance.
Yeah, he struck a superior officer and disobeyed a direct order, but Stasi is the best chance they have.
Yeah. But then we get to cut to issue 22, which opens with a
Shit that I care about.
What's that?
Shit that I care about.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But unfortunately, it's very weirdly drawn.
The artist changes.
Yeah, clearly.
Cover's great, though.
Oh, the cover is it's a very iconic picture of Darth Krayt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on the planet Dak, the capital New Coral City, formerly known as Akbaria. Which, again, very uninclusive to the Quarrens.
Poor Quarry.
Well, it's because they're stinky squid people.
This is Octopus Land.
Well, because whenever I see Quarrens, I just think about that scene in Robot Chicken Star Wars where they're all in the elevator and Palpatine's there.
Plenty of room.
I'd rather not smell like a fillet of fish.
It's hurtful, man.
But no.
Let it go.
Yeah, we see an assembled Mon Calamari and stinky squid fillet of fish people. hanging out there, and Darth Krayt is he's grumpy.
Yeah, he's pissed. God, he's drawn so weird.
Yeah, but I do really like the little text blob where it's rare that the Emperor is like outside of the Sith Temple on Coruscant.
Because he is relatively weak right now. Krayt can't do a bunch of shit right now.
Yeah, like
He's surprisingly frail.
Yeah, which it works very good because obviously from Coruscant he would be able to kind of like control what gets sent out. Like he's obviously not going to like let everyone see like, oh, here's Darth Krayt in his stasis pod. He literally is taking a nap.
He can issue out orders and just lay in bed all day.
Yeah, pretty much. So basically my dream job. But no, here he's doing a good job at being intimidating. Like he's had enough, and then if it was drawn better, it would be a lot more effective, but he just looks goofy when he tells Gael Gahan to silence. Like he just looks he looks silly, which is unfortunate.
He looks better in the second panel, but
oh yeah, that's probably because he doesn't mouth agape yelling, but they did a really good job of making the senator look sad and just like...
Oh yeah, no, he's drawn very well, I think.
Yeah, but then we get Darth Krayt's will that 10% of the Mon Calamari population are going to be executed effective immediately, and that they're going to start with the Mon Calamari at hand.
Mm-hmm. And they're slaughtering Quarren alike too.
Oh yeah, they're literally just killing everyone there. Because there's literally in one of the panels, there's just a random Quarren, and he's like, because Darth Azard is there, and he's like, no, you can't do this. Like, they're not our species, like, but they don't deserve this. And Darth Azard is like, fuck off, I'm a Sith.
Yeah. It's kind of like giving up your own family and embracing your new philosophy and becoming a new person, which is pretty consistent with the Sith.
And then he orders that any Mon Calamari in the galaxy are going to be put into work camps, and anyone who runs away will be hunted and killed, and that they're going to have time to suffer and reflect on their crimes until they are all extinct, and he will purge their galaxy of their culture and history, and such will be the fate of all who defy the Sith.
So if it was lost on you, the Empire are basically the Nazis.
Yeah.
It's very subtle. You might not get it. But even the senator says this is genocide. And
then Krayt says, yes. Like this panel, like, I wish it was drawn better because it's such an effective panel setting up how evil Krayt is, because literally he says that you can die knowing that you're responsible for the death of your people. Like, that's such an evil villain thing to say, but he's drawn like a bad cartoon.
It really is. It's very disappointing.
He has like the teeth of someone who's been chewing tobacco for 50 years.
But then, again, the senator's drawn well in the next panel. It's very inconsistent.
Yeah.
Overall, not great, though.
Yeah, but again, I love the conversation between Warlock and Krayt.
Yeah, Warlock is definitely one of the more interesting characters in the One Sith.
Yeah, but I just love how he's talking about how like he asked Darth Krayt if he should prepare the stasis chamber because like he's taking this trip and it's like coming off Cade escaping and it's got to be taking a toll, and Krayt's like, no, like all this emotions around us, like it's feeding the dark side, like it's giving me more strength.
And it's very interesting too because the same thing happens with Darth Bane when he's poisoned by he's poisoned twice. What is the first time?
The first time is by Githany.
Yes, by Githany, and he goes to okay, fill in the blanks for me.
Umbria.
Yeah, Umbria. And he kills like a family in order to like feed off of their emotions.
Oh God, no! I don't want to talk about that scene. That's such a downer.
I mean, it's a downgrade from genocide.
That's a downgrade from genocide, but
yeah, he just slaughters this poor like children too, and the father is
'cause-
like weeping over his dead son.
well, I think I don't remember if it's in the book, but it's definitely in the Jedi versus Sith comic. And the dad is like, why did you kill them first? Like, I had to watch. And Darth Bane, he just like kills him because he's evil.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is in the book too. But like, it's just to sustain himself even longer. I mean, it works, and it works for Crate too. So
Yeah, and then we get to cut to the Imperius, which apparently still hasn't been renamed.
no, it hasn't been renamed. It is the Imperius.
Yeah, which I mean, I guess is fine. They didn't give it like a cheesy good guy name, but they're upset with what's going on like Mon Calamari because like it like overall like it is their fault because
Yeah.
like they stole the Star Destroyer which was there and conspired with the people there. Not saying
Yeah.
that anyone's really to blame there, but like they feel guilty about it.
Yeah, and it's not justified. They shouldn't, but I mean, you can't really help but feel guilty. But Crate was going to do this either way.
Yeah, and then we cut back to Dak, where the niece of the senator is running away from the stormtroopers. They corner her, and then she's saved by a split kick between some poorly drawn Imperial Knights.
Interesting thing, though, is that the stormtroopers are actually bleeding from their dismembered arm.
It's probably because this artist... well, I shouldn't say anything because it's 1,000 times better than anything I could do.
Yeah.
But it just isn't as good as the other art, which, I
know
mean...
it isn't.
It's especially bad for me because it reminds me of some of the bad art from the Knights of the Old Republic comics, which gets
I thought that's what you were going to say.
which gets outrageously bad. It's better than that, like.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I love with the Imperial Knights is they're like just cocky assholes.
Oh no, I love the rivalry with the Jedi.
Yeah, because the Mon Calamari is like, oh, Jedi, and the Imperial Knights, she's just like, oh, better. We're Imperial Knights.
I think every interaction they have with the Jedi is just them measuring dicks with one another.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Like it makes sense that like these two rival force orders, like obviously they're not like hostile towards each other, but like there's like a rivalry there. And they introduce themselves, and they won't be important again for a while.
Nope.
But they do bring the important news that the is sabotaged because, again, it's a very Empire thing. Like they planted like 3 layers of like sabotage because the one Imperial Knight's like, oh, they're gonna find the first one, and they're gonna find the second one, but they won't find the third one.
Plan C.
It's literally they're on Plan C.
Mm-hmm.
But then they bust out some GA personnel, and they do the old dresses the Imperials trick, which is
very overused.
Yeah, it's kind of like a trope at this point, but
this was 2005.
I thought it was 2006.
Oh, maybe 6. 5,
but
6.
Also, well, it started, I think, in 2006, but at the same time, we're 23 issues in, so...
Yeah.
But regardless...
Oh, this is 2008, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, but I mean, it's a trope, but it's effective. It's always fun when they do it.
I don't care enough about these characters to care about tone, so it works for me.
I suppose. But then we have our favorite Quarren Sith who like catches on, and we get a lightsaber duel, which is drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys
drawn.
if you guys can't tell, we're kind of just trying to power through these first couple issues. But again, Azard, like he's a very effective kind of stooge villain. Like he's saying very Sith things the whole time they're fighting.
Yeah, he's very visually interesting. Like we said, he's kind of like the Darth Maul of this, except I mean he speaks more often, but he's just very visually striking.
Yeah, we get a couple it's very interesting getting a close up on his face because he's a Quarren. So really, he kind of just has the Cthulhu tentacles and then the two fangs.
The weird tongue thing too. I think I've never
yeah,
quite understood what that was.
yeah. But then what do they shoot something out? They shoot out some part of the ship, and then they shoot it with the turbo lasers on the ship, which makes it blow up so they can get out of there. And they escape to Admiral Stacey, and they can tell him about the Plan C sabotage, which then means we get to issue 23.
Okay, shit I actually care about. I spoke too soon last time.
Yeah, which again, it has a really cool cover.
Mine's loading. I'll agree with you in a second. And okay, I agree with you.
It seems like it's almost over the top for Star Wars because there's not really like a lot of treasure, but like it works. Because
it reminds me of the Star Wars Insider cover with Obi-Wan that pressed up against the wall during Order 66. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's what it reminds me of. It does look like it's straight out of Aladdin.
Yeah, well, it probably also helps that Rav is literally just a pirate.
That's also true.
Like, totally random thing, but whenever I read like Rav, like the voice I hear when I read him, which sounds like I have like 5 levels of like schizophrenia, but the voice that like I read him in is Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean.
I might have to do that now. He has like the tendrils too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, but no. I like the interesting thing on the planet Socorro, how Rav's ship is like in an empty Sarlacc pit.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's literally.
I didn't notice this.
Yeah, it's like the first little text blurb.
Oh.
Yeah. They never do anything to show it, but it's neat that someone would redecorate a empty Sarlacc pit, I guess.
I really wish we did see it. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, but they say empty Sarlacc's pit, which I think means just big hole in the ground.
Is it a literal Sarlacc's pit?
It's Sarlacc's pit with an apostrophe, not Sarlacc pit. So, like,
okay.
At least when I think about it, like that way it makes it sound like it's the aftermath of a Sarlacc being gone.
To believe that it's literal.
Yeah, either or. Doesn't matter because they never mentioned it again.
It's tragic.
Yeah, but we get Naxi, our best ever friend from the first. Yeah, that's in like the first couple issues. I was going to say that they find him, but the main characters show up. Hooray!
Finally.
And a totally random thing that I don't think I mentioned in either of the last episodes, but it's also slightly hard for me to take Rav seriously as that being his name because that's what my friend's cat's name is. So whenever they say Rav, oh no! Whenever they say Rav and Rav is just spoken, like in the panel with Cade, he just says Rav. All I can picture is my friends talking with their cat.
Well, there went all of his intimidation factor.
Yeah, well, if it helps, my friend's cat, Rav, is short for ravioli.
That makes it worse.
Yeah, I was going to say. But anyways, Cade has some accounts that he wants to settle with Rav. And...
accounts, in quotes.
Yeah, accounts.
Need their ship back.
Well, it's the ships for Chak and Key, the Wookiee and the orange person.
Devaroni? Is she Devaroni? I think she's Devaroni.
I don't know.
I'm gonna assume Devaroni. I mean, probably.
I don't think it's a big deal because she doesn't pop up much after this.
No, I do
Yeah.
like her though, and I do.
Yeah,
like
no. Yeah, well, Wookiees are always cool.
Oh yeah.
Um, but then we get a cool bar fight, and Cade's using his lightsaber and just yeeting fools left and right.
He doesn't give a shit anymore.
No, like he's literally just in a bar fight. I mean, I guess it makes sense because like they're trying to kill him.
Mhm.
So I guess it's like it's fair. Like if he had a blaster, he'd be just doing the same thing.
Yeah. It's probably easier with the lightsaber too.
Yeah, and then he's force pushing people. Like he does not care. Like obviously he's known to the Sith as a Jedi,
Mhm.
but he corners Rav, and Rav, of course, being a dick, he's just like, well, if you wanted a death stick, you could have just begged.
God, he's an asshole.
He really is. Well, you can tell he's an asshole because he has a golden.
That's all the confirmation you needed.
Yeah, exactly, and an evil scar.
Oh yes, of course. Exactly. He's a pirate. He's a guy.
He is he also has a peg leg. He is a pirate.
Space pirate.
Literally a space pirate. But yeah, then they go and talk, and I like where he's like, "Oh, Cade, I could have killed you. You just got to remember the good times." And Cade's like, "Oh yeah, I remember the good times. How you like tattooed us with like your mark and made us swear an oath, and we didn't get anything from you." And
Got
then
me addicted to drugs.
yeah, exactly. And Cade's holding him like by the throat, and he's using like the dark transfer, and he's like, "Well, you're gonna swear this to me, or you'll be wearing my mark." And then Rav says his pirate thing.
By my bloody bones.
That's such like a 1800s pirate thing, which I guess is fun because you know.
So they negotiate in quotes.
Yeah,
Aggressive negotiations.
I was gonna say, what does Padme say? It's aggressive negotiations. Pew pew. I guess you could go. I guess you could go the Obi-Wan. You were right. The negotiations were short.
Damn it, Cade.
But no, they go through, and I know I've said it before, but I just love Cade's chirping. Like it's just awesome. He's just chirping everyone left and right. He says, "Good party. Time to clean up. This place is a wreck."
They all have great personalities and chemistry with one another.
Oh yeah, and then I love the little panel where like Dryson is literally just shooting his blasters up in the air. But,
I love that. He's just like looking down. So sad.
Oh yeah, and then we get a spoopy masked character in the background.
Oh yeah, spying on them.
Spying on them is that these spies are all very obvious.
Yes. And then in the next very panel, Rav is ratting them out. That's it.
Oh yeah, literally it looks like it literally just says shortly, but in the panel you can literally see Cade and his crew just like leaving.
Yep.
Shortly, I guess, as in like 45 seconds.
Yep.
And then Beth Malati is just going on about how like she's gonna pay him for all his information, and that Death is he's gonna die if he's not truthful with her. And then Rav swears his pirate things to her because he's a bastard.
Yeah, I wonder if he's actually afraid of the Empire too, because he went immediately to them, even though like Cade had him by the throat, and just decimated everybody in his bar.
Well, I guess by Rav's logic, you got to think of it this way: Star Destroyer greater than Minok.
Yeah.
But
I think it's less him manipulating both sides and like more genuine fear of them, I think.
Oh yeah, well, and the Empire probably pays a hell of a lot better.
Oh yeah, that too.
And he's a pirate.
It's in his benefit to report to Lady Malady.
Yeah, and then again we cut to interesting, like cool characters because it's like the main cast, and we cut over to Bastion, and
Rowan fell with his Imperial Knights. I can't remember this one's name.
Ganner Krieg.
Krieg. Okay, that sounds better than Craig.
Craig, yeah. That's how I pronounce it, but I could fucking be wrong. I don't know.
It sounds better. I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah. But I'm sure we mentioned it, but the Imperial, like the quote unquote good guy Imperials, like they look very cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think the white lightsabers was an interesting choice because they have red and black armor, but it offsets it nicely.
Yeah,
And
well, I mean,
it's neutral too.
I guess they're nothing if not aesthetic.
That's true. It's pretty consistent with the Empire. They might be terrible genocidal maniacs, but whatever era you look in, they have really nice wardrobes.
Yeah, that's very true. And then, but yeah, Emperor Fell he's upset because Skywalker was allowed to leave. Basically, that's pretty much it.
Skywalker or
well, it's Cade. He's mad that Cade was allowed to like leave.
Yeah.
Because like he has a fairly good point. Like Cade's a junkie. Like he could have told the Empire everything when he was captured.
And he did bang Darth Talon too.
He did.
You had the Quinlan Voss type situation where he very well could have. He's a liability.
He really is. And then he asked he asks Ganner where Antares Draco is, and I'm pretty sure it's Ganner Krieg covering for Antares, but he's like, oh, he's delayed. He'll arrive shortly because he's banging your daughter.
Yeah.
We cut to them, and they basically just have some PG-13 loving.
Yeah, just a little smooch. And some caressing of the shoulder.
Yeah. But then it cuts away, so, ...
Ooh.
Yeah, they basically just talk about, like...
their duties as Imperial Knights.
Yeah, it's good, like, character stuff, but, like, it's one page of it where I think it would have been a little more effective if we got a little bit more with them.
Yeah, I agree. I do like Imperial Knight philosophy too.
Yeah, like they're both really they're both like interesting characters to read, but when you only get a page of them, like 2 pages from this Imperial side, it's kind of hard to like sympathize with them, I guess, as much.
It could be longer, but confines of the comic book, it can only be like 20 pages.
Yeah, that's very true. And also, I don't think either of us mentioned, but the Fells have the white streak in their hair because that comes from Jagged Fell, apparently. Apparently, that is the most dominant trait in all of Star Wars, and that will be bred into every single generation of Fell. I think it
swear.
I think it just looks it makes sense for like Rowan Fell because he's old, so like conceivably that could just be like his like hair going gray, but no, she just has a streak. I don't know. I never liked that was something that passed on from Jagged Fell, but
I don't mind it. It's fine. It's a bit of family flavor, I guess.
I guess it makes it like very identifiable. Well, versus the Solos who have brown hair.
Or commit genocide.
Yeah.
There's one in every family.
Yeah. Well, then I guess then the Skywalkers are all either redheads or blonde.
Or again, committing genocide.
Yeah.
They don't have the best track record.
No, like every important family, it's either genocide or hero. Like there's no middle management accountant Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, where's cousin like Rick Skywalker, the restaurant manager?
We do get a normal Skywalker later, actually. I mean, he's a military commander, but I can't remember his name, but he's like foregoing all of his Jedi principles and shit. That's pretty interesting.
You're not talking about Bantha, are you?
Am I talking about Bantha? Is he not a Skywalker? Am I dumb?
Well, we'll get there. Because
Okay,
anyways, we cut back to Socorro, the spaceport.
It's been a long time, Kate.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But no, they're going back and forth with. Like Naxi is trying to like get off the planet, and the Wookiee just straight up is like, no.
Which is understandable.
Oh yeah, he's a disgusting little goblin.
I feel so bad for him though because he gets shoved in a disgusting. What even is it?
Goblin.
No, well, him, but like the room he gets shoved into.
Oh, I don't know, the septic tank.
Yeah.
Well, he says like Cade tells Jiraiya to toss him in the brig, and then Jiraiya asks him if they have a brig, and they ask if it's got cleaned out from their last cargo of rotting gorgs for the hut party. And since it's huts, you know it's absolutely disgusting. But yeah,
I feel so bad for him. It's disgusting.
But anyways, in less disgusting, yeah, the spoopy figure throws a. Well, it's Star Wars, so they throw a tracker on their ship. What does everyone do in Star Wars?
Exactly.
Put a tracker on the main character ship.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, finding the Mynock, you don't really need a tracker. It's a giant red ship with like the Rav logo on them, which you would think they would.
Right across it.
Yeah, you'd think that they would like buy some spray paint and just get rid of that.
Make it a standard gray and you're good.
Yeah, and then Jiraiya and Cade talk about how where they're going to go, and Jiraiya asks if they're going to Rock's Nest, but they have to drop Naxi off somewhere.
Okay, I think I missed that line when I was reading this because I was wondering about what happened to Naxi.
Oh, he's just
he's just dying in septic.
Yeah, but then we find out that Delia Blue was mad at Cade, and
justifiably so.
Oh yeah, I mean he banged Darth Talon, but
yeah.
But I like the little sad, dejected Cade where he's like, I hate talking.
I hate talking.
Like he's a grown man, but he's still very much can be like whiny teenager.
Yeah, he's very far from perfect.
Oh yeah, like that's how everybody looked when like their mom tried to get him to eat broccoli. I hate broccoli. I hate talking.
Cade is just an asshole.
Oh, he really is, but like at least he's not like edgy about it. Like he has character reasons to be like cold and detached and a drug addict.
Yeah, and he has enough to offset it too.
Oh yeah, like literally up until his little mopey last panel, like he's like very jovial and like brotherly with Jiraiya Sin.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, like their relationship is like it's very well done. Like I could buy it. Like that's how like best friends like talk with each other. Like they're not like they give each other shit.
And they've been through a lot together too.
Oh yeah, like they grew up pirate brothers.
Discovered he was a Jedi. That put a damper on things, but now they're good. So he wins over Delilah again. Unless you had any commentary before then. And,
not really, except that R2's floating around, and that's always nice.
Yeah. I still wonder why R2's in this. But
it's like nicely done fan service, because R2 never really he's never like the frontal focus of anything. Like he's there for it's fan service, but it's done in like a good, not in your face way.
He's also like what, 150 years old at this point?
Over 150 years, because this I think it's 130 something, and he would have been what 20s? How many years before
Oh God, it's
episode 4 is episode 1?
the gap between 3 and 4 is 20 years ish.
19 years.
Yeah, it's about what 40. Yeah, 19.
Yes. Yeah. So R2's old.
Yeah.
Like he's seen some shit.
He's almost 200 years old.
Yeah. But then again, we get some PG-13 stuff, and I like the little line that Cade has before it cuts to R2. Go tell Sin that he wants you.
Yeah.
And then they jump to hyperspace, and the door closes, and then I don't know, some funky music plays because it's Star Wars and it's PG-13 at the worst.
I'm just thinking of the KOTOR scene where you're Bastel and then you both look at the bed awkwardly.
But yeah, that's one thing I like about kind of the series. Even though it gets a little darker, it never gets like Punisher dark, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it tells like a mature, like grown up story, but like they don't get like in your face, like edgy about it.
You know, I agree. And I mean, there is a place for that in Star Wars too. Like you can explore whatever genre you want to. And I do like the tone that they set with Legacy.
Yeah, it works very well. And then the Minot comes out of hyperspace, and they're being tailed by a spoopy masked person.
Indeed.
And then they take it down to... I don't know if they even say the name of the planet.
To Banthas.
Oh, Iago.
Iago. Oh, wait. Like the moons of Iago? The angel thing?
Yep. Oh, because that's why Sin says that on his little hyperspace tour, you might see an angel or two. I feel stupid because I've never noticed that.
I probably did. I just forgot.
Are you an angel?
Don't remind me. I'm in a positive headspace with the Phantom Menace right now. I don't want to ruin it.
Well, all you need is some kid Anakin, so I'll just leave it. Yeah, they come in and the Black Sun's after him for like the previous events, obviously.
I didn't really off. This kind of confused me when I was reading it because I didn't know where the Black Sun was coming from, and I didn't know what they were actually going toward. But
yeah, they go through and fight him, and then Bantha shows up with his. He's letting his kids fight Black Sun pirates, apparently, which is excellent parenting.
I agree.
I remember when my mom let me go fight robbers on a bike with a gun.
God,
but no, they chase him off, and then you get some nice action shots, and that's really it. Like it's kind of just there for like a nice piece. Like like they come in, chase off the pirates, and then spoopy figures still following them.
Yep, I do like the mask design of the assassin spy.
Yeah, spoopy figure. But they contact someone who we definitely won't figure out in the next like 2 issues.
And the spoopy figure is identified as Aslan Ray.
Yep, which definitely won't come into play in the next couple issues at all. That would be silly. No, then we cut from that to super happy pool party.
What a transition.
It's well, again, it helps that it's not like the next page. Well, it is the next page to us because we're reading it like going over. So like, it would make a lot more sense that you see this and then like 2 weeks later, pool party, which is very interesting because this is probably the first ever Star Wars pool party.
It's the first that I remember.
It's,
Unless George inserts some scenes into episode 2.
let's not talk about episode 2. But no, the kids are playing. It's all very wholesome and nice. And then,
With a Jedi training remote, it looks like.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, then they talk about how Bantha's really good with technology because he made his. Well, obviously it's his kid. Like there's adopted kids, but there's no way that is his biological kid. Well, I mean, it could be.
He's just really hairy. You haven't seen Bantha's back hair.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have like the same colored hair, so maybe.
Well, we
but
know
no,
Twi'leks and humans can get together.
yeah. But it's very obvious that Bantha is just wholesome and adopted all these kids because he's a good guy, so he does good guys. But they talk about how they made. Well, I'm assuming he's like a Shistavanin because he's a wolf man. He's a wolf kid.
Yeah.
They made him new legs. And then he basically just. Well, he talks about how Cade has some new tattoos, which I always forget that Cade still has the Sith tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sith like tattoo.
All the other Sith have like full body tattoos. So
yeah, it's very. Well, you would think with Cade, with his like pirate tattoo and Sith tattoo, he would just like wear a sweater.
Well, he hates both of the groups. Now they're like pasted on his body.
Yeah, so get a sweater.
Get a sweatband for your arms.
Yeah, literally. Well, he never wears long sleeves unless he's wearing his like trench coat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like his problem is so simple. Invest in sleeves.
Exactly.
But no, they go and have their discussion, and Dryson is hitting on a freshly 18-year-old girl. And then it's really gross because Dryson is supposed to be a likable main character, but there's very clearly a age gap because he looks old.
It's just the pirate life. It's aged him.
It is. Well, because I think Cade is only like 21, I think, like throughout the series. And obviously, they never say how old Dryson is, I think, but
he's like 5 years older, I think.
Yeah, well, he's like of an age with Cade. Like obviously they're like peers, and they're drawn to kind of like look the same. But I suppose when you're banging death sticks all the time, you're gonna get a few wrinkles.
Damn dark transfer gets to save Cade's ass.
Well, it can save him from mortal wounds, but it can't save him from the ravages of age.
That'd be too much.
But no, then Bantha has he has a cool like grumpy dad monologue where he just basically lists off everything that Cade's done, and Cade's just like, pretty much.
Damn it, Cade, you make me feel stupid. He is a Skywalker.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. He's also very hairy, so I do believe this is biological.
Well, yeah, clearly. Like that's not a Shistavanin, that is just Bantha genetics. But yeah, no, I like that Bantha doesn't like have the traditional Skywalker look, which is nice.
Oh, no.
It sets him
like
apart.
Gandalf, except buff.
Yeah, he's like a cross between Gandalf and Hulk Hogan.
Damn it, I was going to say that.
but no, it's very nice. Like looking at him, you wouldn't think like, oh yeah, like that dude's like, he's a descendant of Luke Skywalker. Like you look at Cade and you're like, oh yeah, I'd buy it. Like, oh yeah, I believe it. Yeah. And then you look at Bantha and you're like, no, that's some fucking old guy.
Some merchant on Tatooine or some shit.
That's just That's the dad from American Choppers.
God.
But no, and then he
I wanted to
confronts.
throw a chair at Cade now.
But no, then they have a grumpy little argument about Morgan Cord, Cade's mom,
Mhm.
and
Who
like
has
they.
been missing for a while now, actually. Since they escaped Darth Crate, and she hasn't appeared since.
Well, because she's got to do Nina Click's stuff.
Yes.
But no, it's nice. We get a little. I don't know if the blue stuff is supposed. I had it written down. I don't know if the blue stuff is supposed to be. It's a hologram or a flashback.
Well, he's touching a console
Yeah,
in the
but
previous
also,
thing.
but also you don't like see it in like the room like you do with like a Princess Leia hologram.
Yeah.
But it would also be weird to have
Well, I
a
think it's not a hologram, but like on a screen.
that could be. But we get to see young Bantha who doesn't look like a hobo.
No, and he's actually decently cut, and he has blonde hair.
Yeah, so yeah, he's definitely Skywalker because
Yeah.
trying to think of other like blondes that aren't Skywalkers in Star Wars, and I think it must be exclusive to the Skywalker line.
Well, Cord, I guess.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Unless there's some weird Sweet Home Alabama stuff, but I doubt it.
He's still hairy back then too. He's the only hairy Skywalker I know.
Yeah, that's true. He's still jacked though. Like Skywalker's
Yeah.
like the god. They're all built like even Cade. Like he's not like jacked, but like he's fit as hell. He kicked my ass. That's for sure.
I don't know. He's not like huge, but he's relatively skinny, but he's toned.
Oh, I suppose when you're on space meth.
Yeah.
But no, they have like a nice little like background about how Bantha like raised Cade while until like Cole brought him to Ossus to be trained.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like that because then you get the whole like
Uncle Owen.
Yeah, it kind of like and it just gives Cade more daddy issues as if he didn't need any more.
God. Poor thing.
And then they go back to the pool party and Cade is about to eat literally just blueberry pie. I know it's called something else, but it's not even like disguised.
It's just blueberry pie.
Which I mean, I guess like blueberry pie is awesome, so they would have to have it in another galaxy.
Patoga and some Gizka fried steak.
So apparently Gizka are the chicken of Star Wars.
Gizka could solve galactic hunger. Because you kill them and then they just respawn.
That's probably how they feed everyone. It's
exactly.
It's literally like Gizka are just the chicken of space.
It's amazing. If you had like a monopoly on Gizka, you would be the richest person in the galaxy.
Well, see, to solve Earth's hunger problem, we just need to genetically engineer Gizka.
Exactly. It'd save Africa.
It would save everything.
Exactly. But they continue, and I guess this is 4 days later is actually happening alongside the Stasi Crate genocide situation, because they say on the news report that it's happening today on Mon Calamari, that they're killing them all.
Yeah, and then we get a much betterly drawn Crate giving his genocide decree. Yeah, it's so much better. Then Cade, he's just like, yeah, we are leaving, and he reveals that his name is Cade Skywalker, which is it's obviously a big deal because like they literally say on the news, like you can see in the background that like the news is saying that he's a terrorist who escaped from the Sith Temple.
Yeah, the kids are looking back at him and all, and they have to leave right now.
Yeah, they leave, which is unfortunate for Sin because he's missing out on his jailbait girlfriend.
Oh, they're literally like on a couch in a bed too.
Yeah, so it's probably lucky that he left because I don't want Sin to be gross. Despite his
at the
last
same
name
time-
literally just being Sin.
At the same time, though, like, my man needs a break. Like, Cade is knocking up everybody. He
That's
just
true.
bails at the first sign of trouble. This is bullshit. Let the man have something.
Well, just go find someone your age. Stop.
And
It's
that's
like-
also true.
It's like the senior going after the freshman in college. But the senior is like 2 years older than a senior. But
So,
hey, what's that? Yeah, something else. Like Bantha almost like taunts Cade because he's like, "Oh, your plan is to like just keep running," and Cade's like, "Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about." And then
he literally Hulk Hogan yells at him, and it's amazing.
oh yeah,
I
no,
need
it's like
I need to compare that to see how accurate it is.
probably very. Whenever I read Bantha now, I'm gonna read him as Hulk Hogan, brother.
I am too, though.
But he socks Cade like 2 times just in the face, which would be awful because Bantha's jacked.
That was weird. I crashed. I'm back now.
Okay, awesome. Oh, damn it! Now I'm gonna have to actually edit something. No. Bantha socks Cade 2 times, which would be awful because Bantha is jacked.
He's like 3 times Cade's weight. Just
He's like-
muscle.
He's like the burliest man in the galaxy.
Thank God his arms are the size of his peg.
But no, like he's basically like, no, Cade, you're not going anywhere. You're staying here. And then we cut to Cade and his alien GF asleep, and Cade like just shoots up out of bed like a freaking rocket,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes to totally, he tells her that he's just got to go to check on something in the Minoc, and he's definitely not going to do death sticks.
Drugs or anything.
But yeah, but he's got
This
him
is
hidden.
not Cade's not the best role model for children.
No, he's no Luke Skywalker. Like he's a drug addict,
Space junkie.
space junkie, very violent
Oh.
space junkie. But then we get like, of course, one of like the big highlights of the series whenever they show up, and that's a Force vision, which this one is for sure a Force vision because it happens before he does the death sticks.
This is true. This is probably one of the less known Force visions in Legacy, because you see the initial one with Luke, like posted everywhere.
Oh, that like
Yeah.
if you type in Star Wars Legacy, that's going to be like in the first couple pages. But
Yeah,
like Luke's literally just like, you aren't really planning on using that again, are you? And well, Cade, like he's written very well, like because he's an addict. He's like, I just have a lot on my head, and it's what I need to relax to go to sleep.
and then like he wakes up from a nightmare, and it's probably like what Anakin is going through in the prequels.
Yeah, pretty much, and he just has a different way of coping it. Even though Luke is like,
Mhm.
you could just meditate. But then I like how Cade snaps back and he's like, yeah, I learned some Sith methods too. And then his dad pops up, which is obviously it sets Cade off because daddy issues.
Yeah, because this is the first time he's seen him since he fought Crate,
Mhm.
which has been probably months.
I don't know.
Hey,
It's Star Wars, so they're never super concrete on dates.
Yeah, but I mean, it still must suck to have your dad die and then just pop up again later, and then
Oh,
disappear.
because he doesn't pop up for what, like 7 years after
Yeah.
he dies on Ossus, and then he just shows up, and then he shows up again to be like,
Mhm.
stop doing drugs.
And that's even explained why he's not able to appear to Cade, because his anger blocks him from appearing to him.
Hmm. And then yeah, Cade does the daddy issues thing, and he's like, "Oh, you can't just show up after 7 years and start telling me what to do."
Yeah, pretty much. And there's a bit more scolding, and Luke gets involved again.
Yeah, he tells him that events are coming and that you're going to happen and you have to be ready. And then Cade says that he can escape it and you for one night, and then does the death stick, which I don't know how death sticks are done. It looks like he's about to drink it. I don't know if that's how they do. I don't know if that's how you do death sticks.
My impression when I was younger is that you smoked it, but I do think you drink it because the bottles are empty. Earlier in Legacy, and you could see them like drained and like dripping out.
Yeah, that
I guess
makes
you
sense.
just down
Huh. For some reason, I always thought that you just shot it up.
It's like alcohol if it were cigarettes, or worse. Probably heroin is more like
liquid heroin.
Just drink it.
But yeah, I like how I like this time because you get to see Cade like off his balls, like laughing about how he showed them dead Jedi and he pushed him right away and he can't see anything or feel anything.
Yeah, he's high as hell.
Oh yeah, he's just off his ass, and then he gets kicked in the face by Spoopy Mask.
Whose name I've already forgotten?
Aslan Ray.
Yeah, Aslan Ray.
Yeah, and then but then Uncle Hogan shows up. And yeah, they have a cool little like force thing where they throw stuff at each other, and then you see Cade in the background using dark transfer on his head, which both is probably to combat the effect of getting like a boot to the face and the heroin.
And Hulk Hogan just handedly kicks her ass.
Oh yeah, he just lays it down on her, and he's like, "Oh, that's good." Like,
Also, she has an orange lightsaber, or orange is yellow.
It's it's like orangey yellow, which is cool because it's
amber.
not blue or green.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think amber's like I always thought amber's darker, but I'm not good with colors.
It's in any case, it's more lightsaber color diversity, which is always interesting.
Oh yeah, well that's what I love about Legacy is it has lots of lightsaber diversity.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Bantha just absolutely just demolishes her, and
like
asks if he knows her, and then she takes off her helmet, and Cade has another love interest.
I fucking hate him. God, he's keep your dick in your pants, man.
I guess the secret to getting attractive space alien women is to be a drug addict.
See, this is what incels argue against.
Yeah.
Why is it always the assholes that get the win?
Clearly in Star Wars, to get women, you have to have edgy tattoos and be a drug addict.
Well, if Cade and Anakin are any indication, yeah.
Yeah, no, then they cut and it's very civil and they're all having calf, which I love that at this point it was still calf and not coffee.
Everybody, it's more subtle than just dead ass hot chocolate in the Thrawn trilogy.
Don't talk shit about Thrawn trilogy hot chocolate. I don't know why, it just seems like this is such a tangent, but like I don't know why that never bothered me. Like it's such a real world thing, and it's not subtle like you said. It's just in your face. Like
it doesn't exactly bother me, but I'm just so used to them making up random names for drinks like Bantha milk, Jawa juice, Teresian ale, and then just have hot chocolate is.
Well, to be fair, Teresian ale is literally just beer. Like, there are ales in the real world. It just happens to be named after a fake planet.
See, there's a little bit of flavor, so they could have called it hot chalk or something.
Ick. That sounds like a chocolate-flavored, like, Tums.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's talk about the comic book. But yeah, they're talking about how Aslan Ray and Cade were apprentices at the same time on Ossus.
Former Jedi.
Yep. Well, she's other stuff, but we'll figure that out. And yeah, they kind of have like a little reminiscing thing, and they talk about how Cade thought she died on Coruscant, and she thought he died on Ossus.
And I love Delilah's face in these panels.
Oh yeah, she's just like staring at her because as much as I hate the Family Guy Star Wars, like there's kind of that scene where they're talking about the only two women in the galaxy and they hate each other.
And then she's like flirting with Cade, and
Yeah, and then Delilah's just like, "Oh well, we gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
Captain needs to sleep," and is like dragging Cade away. But then the long-range sensors pick up a Star Destroyer, which is very unromantic. And then yeah, it cuts to the outside, and they're beating up Hulk Hogan in front of his kid's brother, which isn't very cool.
Just a random stormtrooper just butts him with his gun.
Well, I think it's because like they kind of had to let it happen.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. And the kids are under, they're in scopes too, I guess.
Yeah, so yeah, Hulk Hogan has to restrain his immense power.
And the Imperial officer just slugs Aslan right too.
Oh yeah, just punches her right in the face.
Yeah.
Well, she kind of talks back to him, and he's a bad guy, so you know they can punch women. It's okay because they're evil.
The only
But then-
exception is Yellow Jacket. Thank you, Hank Pym.
I don't get it.
I'll send you comic book panels later.
I know Hank Pym hits his wife.
Oh, you know, that's it.
Okay, but yeah. But then they cut back to the Minoc, which is hidden somewhere, and Cade is mad, and I really don't like this panel because obviously he's mad that like his friend and like his uncle are like getting beat up, and like Delilah's like, you need to be quiet, like you will get everyone killed, and there's a panel with Cade's evil eye, and he says that he wants death and he wants to kill. I never liked that panel, no matter how many times I've read it.
It's pretty edgy. Something
It's
Cade
not-
is that he gets his Sith eyes so often, and it's tearing him up inside. But this man has touched the dark side so often, and really his repercussions haven't been that great. And so it happens so often, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, he's angry again.
Well, see, it's not so much that he has the eyes, because like I like that because Cade like is clearly like flirting with the dark side. I just don't like the dialogue that he wants to kill.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed like just very, very out of character because like I mean, despite like Cade like not being a good guy, like he doesn't like just murder people. Like
He's
like,
not a sadist.
yeah, like earlier, like in that earlier issue, like he's only killing those people in Rav's cantina, like because they're coming at him, and like,
Yeah.
I don't buy that Cade wants to just like murder these Imperials. But
Me neither, even with them beating him up. But I mean, at the same time, though, I do like it because I do want him to have more repercussions with touching the dark side, because he's been kind of skirting by so far.
yeah,
And he is seeing them get the shit beat out of each other, or one another.
yeah, that's pretty good. But I wish it was a little more
Subtle.
yeah, like subtle, a bit more like kind of snowbally. Like he kind of jumps just from like normally he does it when he's mad to straight up he's like I wanna fucking kill someone,
Yeah, no, it's not gradual.
which I mean is fine because like Cade also just has his own problems, so he
Yeah.
kind of just it's like him just lashing out. But then it all works out because Aslan mind tricks an Imperial officer, which shows how good some of the Imperial officers are, I guess.
Yeah, I do like the visual representation of force powers in this. Like
Yeah,
earlier,
like-
Darth Azur, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes,
He has like a
a force
force
bubble.
shield over himself. Yeah.
Yep.
Protecting himself from the blast, and here you can see her fingers lighting up a little bit when she's doing a mind trick.
Well, I just like that you can get away with that in a comic book because like
Yeah.
you can show like obviously if you did that in a movie, it would look way too silly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Especially the mind trick, at least, and maybe the bubble too. But
the bubble would look terrible on a movie.
I do like force pushes with like special effects though, like in the Old Republic trailers. I think that's a
Oh
great
yeah,
choice.
where it kind of like just kind of like ripples the air a little bit, and there's a little bit
Yeah,
of
it's like a haze almost.
yeah, that works really well. But then the Imperials they bugger off because they got mind tricked, and then 2 hours later they're getting ready to leave, and well, Bantha gives Cade a new blaster double-barreled pistol shotgun.
Yep,
Uh,
and they, unless you have any commentary here, they decide they need to kill Darth Krayt.
yeah, and then well, that's literally just all that Cade says. He
Yeah.
says, "I have a better plan," and it just literally just kill Krayt.
Yep.
Very like straightforward, but then they do kind of like argue back and forth because Bantha's just like, that's literally a suicide run to go and try and do it yourself, and then reveals that there's a hidden Jedi temple. And then Aslan Ray like reveals that there is a hidden temple, and obviously she has a
Connection to the Imperial Knights.
Yep, and she has the tracker on the Minok as well, and the Imperial Knights in their very non like chalant like dropship that is bright red with the Imperial insignia all over it. And that's how the issue ends. And then we get to open up, and I really love this is in issue 25 now. I really love comics that do this. They just have a big multi-page like monologue told from one character's point of view, and it works super well. And like it obviously like it's meant for like when this comic book is coming out like monthly or every 2 weeks, because like it like brushes you up on everyone. It's like, oh, Dryason doesn't like Jedi. Cade wants to like kill the Sith. And there even is like a nice little line where like Bantha's like he's never seen a Zeltron jealous before, and like because obviously she's threatened because Cade will like bone anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Cade's a slut. Yeah, he really is. And then they talk about how Cade and Aslan grew up together, and so they have that deep connection there. And that they're getting out of hyperspace, and like they're talking about all that. And then I really love it. I'm assuming it's a big 2-page spread or something of the Minot closing in on the hidden temple. And he's talking about how I really like the little comment about how Cole's Jedi Council was smart enough to remember their history, good enough to have a fallback spot. The war in Ossus caught up with them before many could make use of it. But like
it reminds me of KOTOR 2, where Atris is talking about Telos being the backup for the Jedi.
Yeah. Hers didn't work out as well as this hidden temple, though.
No.
Well, considering this one actually works.
Jedi. Well, Atris was a bitch who decided, hey, I'm going to get them all killed on Qatar.
That's, yeah. Whereas this one was actually just made by the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
But then I like Bantha's little soft thing where he says, hug the kids for me, because he's a wholesome family man. I think this is where you're talking about the flying space dumps, because this is where the Mon Calamari capital ships are.
Yep. Not a fan.
Yeah. No, I do like that their like hidden temple is built into ships.
Oh no, so do I. That's actually a very interesting and unique idea.
Well, like ships are already meant to be lived in, so like just plop them down and there you go.
The thing is, though, they have them like suspended vertically. So, I mean, they do look like cities, though. It's very interesting, and I think one of these even looks like the ship in episode 1, that the counselor ship, whatever, or whatever, I can't remember, the diplomatic ship.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon come in.
yeah, the one that gets blown up.
Yeah. Very interesting, though. I
Yeah,
really
they have a
like it.
Star Destroyer, a couple Mon Calamari, Corellian Corvette, some flying octopi.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like the flying Stingray on Dantooine. There's just flying ocean life all over the Star Wars galaxy. But then they cut to immediately just like conflict because Cade and his crew get off, and Shadow Veo and Wolf Sazin are there, and so are the Imperial Knights, and everyone has their lightsabers out.
Greetings to our Jedi cousins.
Again, like I love like the little like rivalry they have, and the Imperial Knights are such dicks.
They are. They're so snooty.
No,
I
then
love
they
it,
have
though.
it's awesome, and they have like a fight, and like Cade's like, well, like the princess wasn't invited, and you guys aren't wanted, and like Antares Draco just calls him pirate scum. Like what a dick.
Draco has more pent-up emotions than Cade.
Oh yeah, like these two like in all reality, like they would be like best friends.
He's kind of like Cade at least has like an outlet for this shit. Like he's not healthy at all, but he's like able to like release it. Draco's just like boiling, and the lid of the pot's trying to pop off and blow up.
Yeah, and then Ganner, who is like he's my personal favorite Imperial Knight.
He's the only sensible one.
Yeah, well, there's that, and I don't know why I just always liked him. But he makes a much more civil comment about like he's like, is this how you like all your visitors are welcomed? And then Shadow counters like just like very like witty, like just uninvited visitors who arrive with their lightsabers out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love Shadow.
Yeah, no, like all the Jedi, like everyone's this series has too many good characters.
It does. I love so many of the characters in this comic book.
Yeah, and then Cade just has enough, says enough, and then does a force push with a nice little blue effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then
shuts them aside.
Oh yeah, just like again, it shows how like strong Cade is in the Force, despite the fact he doesn't use it a lot, because he just pushes like. Well, he pushes Ganner into Antares, which like is still impressive because he's like breaking through like the force barrier of another like, presumably because Ganner's like a master knight. I think they say a couple times. So like, he's just like throwing him around, and it looks like it's like pretty easy.
It does help too that he's distracted by Shadow, because I feel like Cade can do too much at times. Like his fight with Crate, he's basically dodging him the whole time, but he's also going toe-to-toe with one of the most powerful Sith Lords of all time, and he has 7 years of training, and no, not 7 years of training. He's had
7 years of not training.
Yes, he's pretty rusty. But
see, I think Cade and the rest of the Skywalkers just get by like on their connection to the Force alone.
I am glad there's a excuse like that, though. Yeah. But it does bother me a little bit.
Yeah. But again, like you said, like whenever Cade's doing it, like very rarely is he just like ragdolling like another Force user. Like like when he like in the first couple of issues, like he beats Talon by throwing a chunk of like ship at her.
Yep. and he has ragdolled Talon too, but by the same token, so has she ragdolled him.
Yeah, so it's kind of like almost like an Obi-Wan situation where he's very talented, but like his own like Force defenses are kind of meh. Where Obi-Wan gets ragdolled by Dooku anytime Dooku like looks at him sideways.
To be fair, it is Dooku because I was going to say because someone's going to say in the comments, but nobody watches our video.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, it is similar, especially with how you can bypass fourth walls because you can be distracted. You can.
Yeah. Well, then there's also just the super awesome thing of the author says that he can do it, therefore he's going to do it, which
Yeah.
obviously is why pretty much anyone can do anything in Star Wars.
Yep.
But then Princess Marisiah stands very weirdly. She's like posing at Cade.
Yeah, she's
Like
her hair is
weird-
really flowing there, isn't it?
Yeah, and she's like standing like chest out, like that's like a very like superhero pose.
Mhm.
But one tiny little thing, the lightsabers look very not to scale. They look scaled very wrong. I don't know why.
I have noticed this too. What are you looking at specifically?
Like specifically in the panel where Cade, like his lightsaber, like his hilt looks too long and the blade looks too short.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could just be a perspective thing, but it always catches me when lightsaber blades aren't exactly like 1 meter long.
No, it's pretty consistent with this. The artist is great, but the lightsabers do tend to be too short or too thin or small at points. Like with Rav, when he was interrogating Rav earlier, the lightsaber is practically a Shoda.
Yeah. But yeah, then the princess basically, she's like, what the hell, dude? We're here for peace. And then Wolf just absolutely just verbally just destroys her. And she's like, well, then act peaceably.
Yeah.
Which I like because it's very easy for him to say because he didn't take part in any of that fighting. Like
not that. I mean, they do come with their lightsabers drawn, so.
Yeah. And then there's also 2 alien Jedi. There's a Bothan and a something.
I think that's a subspecies of Nikto.
Could be.
I looked this up because it's the same one from KOTOR, isn't it? Yeah, I think they're Nikto.
I'm pretty sure the Nikto and KOTOR are just Nikto.
The Black Vulkars. I think that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, but then Cade confronts Aslan because it's pretty freaking obvious that it was her.
Mm-hmm.
And then the princess reveals that Aslan's like an Imperial Knight and that she was undercover. And Cade is pretty upset, but obviously the power of Hulk Hogan stops him from doing anything rash.
Precisely.
And I guess Shado's there too, but obviously it's mostly Bantha because he's the buffest man in the galaxy now that Cole's gone.
He is the immovable object. Further cementing that the Imperials are just dicks.
Yeah, it's true.
But I love them.
Yeah, like they're dicks, but they're such interesting, fun characters. And then they go on about how Roan Fel also now knows where this is, which isn't a good deal because, like, he basically, the Sith and the Sith and the Imperials were like at allies at one point.
Yeah, even though Roan Fel is kind of psychotic, so I would be very uncomfortable with him.
Yeah, but then it cuts to that evening and little explanation about how Shado and gang got off of Ossus in that one temple when it got bombarded several issues ago. And of course, Kirkuk saves the day, but oh no, Kirkuk he's gravely injured, and they didn't have any Bacta, and Niren's skills weren't enough. But then on the next page, our boy cannot die.
The man took a lightsaber strike from Grievous. He's fine.
Yeah, he took that. He got isn't he presumed dead in one of the Republic comics?
I'm not sure. I don't remember him. I think it's just Grievous, and then maybe something in the Dark Times comics.
Well, I mean, he survived Grievous. He survived Order 66. He survived a like turbo laser bombardment, from a Star Destroyer, like, and literally all he has 2 casts. That's it.
Yep. And he does like a Spider-Man moment too, where he's lifting up the falling debris, and it's like the support beams like breaking over his back. So Kirk's pretty tough.
Yeah, he's like Kirk could just like 1v1 anyone, and he would just win off of the fact he can't fucking die.
There you go. He's
But
like the Darth Scion of Jedi.
yeah, literally like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But they have a cool little thing. This would probably mean a little bit more to me if I hadn't if I had read the Republic comics,
yeah.
because Shadows asks Cade if he's ever met a Nettie, and Cade says, "Well, it's hard to meet a myth." And then they have a little monologue about who Tressa is.
Yes,
And
she is a Jedi Master who was in love with Master Foam in the Republic comic books, and she's a part of a long-lived species called Nettie, which can live like at least 1,000 years, probably more. And
yeah,
and
and
Ood Banar lives. He's in Dark Empire.
he's in Dark Empire 2, which is
5,000 years after his death.
Well, 5,000 years after
his apparent death.
After he got sick of everyone and turned into a tree. Just a total Ood Banar moment.
I forgot about that. Please post that again.
I will. But no, like they have a little thing, and she welcomes him, and
Nettie's one of my favorite species in Star Wars.
She looks like a tree.
Yep. She has like this long branching out hair.
It's very comic book. Like this is like a Nettie is not something that would get away in a movie.
I think you could, just probably not how Tressa is presented here. I think Ood Banar.
That's true. Yeah, you could do Ood Banar, especially when he turns into a tree.
It's just a tree. It's fun.
Yeah. What is that over there? Oh, that's Ood Banar. Really? That looks like a pine tree.
No, yes. Let's get away.
Bam, done. Oh god, that's like 18 different levels of like nerdy that we just hit there. But anyways, Cade gets welcomed in as the son of Cole, which is probably a little more formal than Cade's used to. Who, might I add, is not wearing sleeves, of course.
I'm not surprised.
But yeah, and then there's also Master Teely Qua, who is I know this. She's a little bat thing. What the hell are they called?
Shadrafan.
Shadrafan, yes.
Yeah. The champ in KOTOR 2, my buddy.
Champ. Or the guy that you can get to just pay credits to basically just bypass all the quests.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they I like Cade again. He's chirping the Imperial Knights. Or he's like, oh, you've got a nice temple, but when are you going to take out the trash? The stink of crimson armor always makes me gag.
It's so sad because the crimson armor is so cool at the same time.
It is. Yeah. It is very cool. Like, I think he just might be like low key jealous.
Probably.
Well, he couldn't wear it because it has sleeves.
Yeah. God, now I need sleeve. I mean, otherwise, without the sleeves, it pretty much fits his aesthetic. He has like the vest. You have to get rid of the shoulder pads, but otherwise, it'd be good. He got the Darth Vader pants.
They do have the Darth Vader pants. Like they match from the waist down. They match.
Yep. Make it happen.
Yeah. Then they have a little conversation and going back and forth, and eventually like Cade literally just dumps that Krayt used to be A'Sharad Het, and that he is also currently dying.
And I do love Tressa and Kakruk's reaction to that, because I think they do both interact with him in Republic comics. If not, then they're both in the Republic comics.
I know for a fact, just from videos I've watched and just random Wikipedia browsing, that for sure Kakruk does. Like, I think they were together at the Battle of Seleucami.
They may have been in the early Republic comics, too. When A'Sharad Het was still under the Dark Woman.
Could be.
I don't know. It's been a very long time, but
I do especially like. It works really well. But I like Kakruk's little thing where he says that the Clone Wars changed us all, Tressa, and that there was always a darkness in head because obviously, like
Tuscan heritage,
Tuscan heritage, yeah,
which is like inherently violent.
just racist. But he does he does like the typical Jedi thing and says that maybe we failed him. To me, that's such like a typical Jedi thing. Like rather than like accepting that like this person was just evil, like they're like, oh well, it's our fault. And then Cade like just totally calls him on it. They're like, he's like, failed. Who cares? He's dying and he's desperate. Like who cares?
Stop focusing on this bullshit and just kill his ass.
Yeah, and he literally says that. He literally says that they put together a kill squad and assassinate Crate. And of course, the Jedi say no because they're the Jedi. And the Jedi never would do something that would end galactic conflict because...
Yeah, we talked about this because they do the same shit with Grievous. In the Republic comics, there's like a Grievous arc later on towards the end of it. I think it's one of the later volumes, like 4, 5, 6, 7, one of those. And Grievous comes onto the scene, he's killing a shit ton of Jedi, and one of the Padawans of the Fallen Master is like, hey, we should probably deal with this guy and like form a kill party so we can actually take him out and stop dozens of Jedi from being slaughtered and take out like the head of Separatist Command. And the Yoda is like shocked and he's like, it's cowardice, you can't assassinate him. And it makes me appreciate the Imperial Knight perspective a lot more because they are light side affiliated, but they're more military based and they're very what's the word I'm looking for? Efficient.
Yeah, efficient. Yeah, that would be like a really good way to describe them. Otherwise,
I feel like if the Imperial Knights were present instead of the Jedi during the Clone Wars, that Grievous would have been dealt with, or at least a kill party would have been formed. Well, whether or not they actually succeeded would be different because
they couldn't succeed because Episode 3 exists. Grievous has the ultimate plot armor.
Of course. Sidious will probably cover his ass or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have a weird little thing where Delia Blue is like going on a speeder ride with a random Jedi.
So she's a slut too. I think she's trying to make Cade jealous.
I think it is, but it would work more if Cade was like in the vicinity.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Azlyn Rae is a member of Cat Gang.
Scrolling down. Oh, she is.
She is. She's a member of Cat Gang. Her master, Rossi Toom, is a Cathar, which is a way better designed Cathar, despite the fact that I love Juhani from KOTOR, but he looks like a cat person, not like a person with a terrible ponytail and pointy ears.
I want to use the mod to make Juhani look better every time I play that game.
Oh yeah, but no, he's very well designed. Like he looks like a fucking lion.
Yep.
Like he is. I can't think of like a more off the top of my head. I can't think of like a more intimidating Jedi.
A more intimidating Jedi?
Yeah, like based off like look alone.
I was gonna say Pong Krell, but his face is kind of dumb.
No, he looks like Dexter.
Yeah. Obi-Wan!
Oh, buddy!
Well, what do you know? Hoth is kind of scary.
Not strictly off of just like look though, because he just looks like a guy in battle armor.
That's true.
With for some reason fleur de lis. I always hated that.
Me too. I don't like talking about any artistic representation of the Darth Bane trilogy.
Oh, we'll get around to it because I don't mind the Jedi versus Sith, but until a suitable, more intimidating off of looks alone Jedi shows up, Rossi Toom, aka Cat Gang Master, is the most intimidating. Like he's like the only person who's like is like jacked as Bantha.
Yeah.
And then like
Bull
he's
kicking.
yeah, he basically is just like oh, Aslan Ray, we need to catch up, because that was her master, and then
Yeah, and she thought that he died, and
yeah, it's like typical like Jedi Purge Survivor stuff. It's like, oh, I thought you died. I thought you died.
it's pretty touching though.
Yeah, it is. Like in literally like a page, like their relationship is set off like very, very well. And then Jariah Sin is like following them, and he gets very upset. A female Zabrak Jedi comes up and asks if he's ill, and he just backhands her like Hank Pym style.
Oh, this is just knocked cold out on the ground.
Oh, literally, she's just like, "Oh, are you okay?" And he just, no, he just punches her in the face, and then
Just knocks her ass out.
And then we just cut back to Cade, and
Talking about
Of
their
course-
assassination too.
yeah, because of course the Jedi are upset.
I do want to ask you this though. Do you think if the Jedi actually formed a kill party, would they be able to kill Grievous? Clone Wars?
I'm assuming you're saying without plot armor.
Yes.
Well,
Well, I guess you can count like Sidious trying to do machinations, but
I don't. Sidious would probably know,
yeah,
but
unless
Like-
Mace was like, okay, don't tell any politicians about this, but we're gonna go try to assassinate Grievous.
I think if it stayed exclusively within the Jedi Council, Sidious would probably still fucking find out because
He's Sidious.
literally. I mean, I
but
think
if
it would
not,
I think it would depend on who went with. Obviously, like if you sent like Kit Fisto, basically if you sent the Episode 3 gang who tried to arrest Sidious.
failed miserably.
Well, I think they would have a better chance than
Yeah, me
Sidious
too.
because obviously
because-
Grievous can't use the Force, and
Grievous isn't the embodiment of 1,000 years of dark side.
yeah.
Uh,
So I think even that crew would have like a decent chance because they're all like high level like masters.
yeah,
Even though
like
Kit Fisto's a master of like the worst form.
Mace alone could probably beat him.
Yeah,
no,
because
Mace alone could beat him.
yeah,
You just
I
crush
mean,
his chest.
I was gonna say like that's the thing with like Mace, like he wouldn't be afraid to just like, oh, like I know this is gonna work.
Yeah.
And then crush his
And,
chest.
They've also, like, in Labyrinth of Evil, they've engaged in lightsaber combat, and Grievous did, like, genuinely scare Mace, because he didn't want him copying Vapad, but he was able to break off the confrontation with the Force, and I don't have any doubts that Mace could deal with Grievous pretty handily, but if you send off, then definitely. It's just a matter of getting past Sidious.
Yeah, if you sent like a decent team, then yeah, Grievous like wouldn't stand a chance. Well, he would because he's Grievous.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, if you sent like the right people, it'd go a lot better than I think Cade's plan of assassinating Crate would, because Crate he's like probably in like top 5 most powerful Sith ever.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe not this version of Crate, but later on, yeah.
Well, even now, I think he'd probably be up there. Like, he's still very powerful.
His stamina is so bad, though. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean,
He has the potential to be, but like in practice, he gets tired so quickly.
yeah, but,
He's still super powerful, though. Like, yeah, if events didn't happen and they didn't collect crew members that we'll talk about shortly,
True.
they would have died.
yes, but anyways, yeah, Cade's very upset because obviously he the Jedi won't fucking do anything. I
Yeah.
would be upset too. And
Because
he
all life
says,
is sacred, and
yeah.
sometimes the Jedi just need to shut the hell up.
Well, I love Cade's line that, maybe it's the will of the Force the Jedi destroy this monster. Was once one of their own before he destroys them. Maybe it's time assassination was the Jedi way.
Mhm.
And then Tresau's like, No, go to bed.
Yeah.
And then
They at least consider it though, which is a step up from the Grievous situation where Yoda was just like, "Oh hell no."
but no, then I do like though that Shadow and Wolf are having like a little conversation that like, you know, like that's Cade's first idea.
Yeah.
Like it works well. Like it's showing that like how concerned they are of it.
And
then
Shadow's been concerned about Cade for like the entire run of the series so far.
literally since like the first issue.
Yeah.
But then of course we cut to the Imperials who are like, it's about time someone's saying something. And then
See, it makes me think that the Imperials would be so much more effective than the Jedi were during the Clone Wars because they would actually get shit done.
well, yeah, because they're literally like a like militaristic like Jedi Order who are willed to serve an emperor. It's basically like if like ARC troopers were also Jedi.
Yeah, exactly. They have similar temperaments too.
Yeah, and then we cut to Dryasin talking to the picture of his dad because he found the Jedi who killed his dad. And I definitely haven't ripped off this backstory for a OC for a Star Wars RPG that I was in.
I think I was a part of that RPG.
But no, and then he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this guy for you, Dad, because that's a. I guess Dryasin has daddy issues too.
Yeah, everybody has daddy issues. Even Delilah Blue.
Yeah, she probably has some. Fucking Cook probably had some. Well, probably not, because he probably didn't know his dad because he was a Jedi.
He's kidnapped as a kid.
And then we have a not as cool as some of the previous covers for issue 26. Although there's a Bothan Jedi. Which
yes, I was about to say there is the Chad Both. And it's a Gruda.
And a Togruta, and a Zabrak, and looks like another Nikto, maybe?
There's like subspecies of Nikto. It's strange. I don't know. That might be something different.
Too bad all but one lightsabers are all Shoto length.
This is also true. It's also the same on the episode 1 cover, I've noticed, but Obi-Wan's lightsaber is so short.
One thing I do appreciate, though, about this cover is that each lightsaber hilt is different. That's very cool. Because it would have been very easy, especially for a cover, that they could have just, done kind of just like just the metal tube thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I really appreciate that there are 4 Jedi, 4 hilts, and every color except for yellow is repped.
Yeah, this does look like... It almost looks like they used CGI in it, too.
It kind of a little bit, but... Yeah.
I guess the technology's new because they were in comic books earlier in the issues with the Yuuzhan Vong issues especially.
Oh yeah. But yeah, now it opens up with the Jedi Council plus Bantha having a discussion about how they're going to go about this, and Tressad spouts the generic Jedi are sworn to preserve life.
Yeah, the Jedi pissed me off.
Yeah.
See, this is... When we were doing our questionnaire, this is probably one of the reasons why I'd have to bail from the Jedi, because they don't get shit done and they just sit on their asses too often.
Yeah,
which, I mean, they can be productive, but I mean, damn, just assassinate his ass.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do like that Bantha, like, he's not like 100% opposed to it though, because obviously, like, he's a lot more practical.
Well, he's had time away from the Order too, so he's more grounded in Earth.
Yeah, because Kirk points out that like the Jedi got into a war and it nearly destroyed the Order, and like Bantha is literally just like, well, different time, different war, because like Darth Krayt is literally genociding the Calamari, and the Jedi aren't doing anything.
Mm-hmm. I do agree. I don't know if I agree or not, but I do understand them being apprehensive about revealing themselves. because you want to be in a position where you can actually accomplish some good, as opposed to saying, "Hi, I'm here," and then just getting offed immediately.
Oh yeah, I mean it wouldn't work well because like the little Chadra Fan Master says that like the order's scattered, so it's basically like a kind of a repeat. It's obviously not as effective as Order 66, but like it definitely like it scattered the Jedi. Like they have to have a hidden temple.
Mm-hmm. It's another Jedi purge. There's so many.
There's at least 3, and the first one is by far the best.
Well, yeah, they didn't know who the hell they were fighting until years later.
Until like the day before they got defeated.
Yep.
But then we cut over to the Mynock where Cade's moping and it looks like he has a beer, so at least he's stopped doing space meth.
It's an upgrade, I guess.
Or it could just be like a cream soda. You don't know.
Yeah. It's A&W.
Yeah, just a nice A&W cream soda. But then we cut over from there. They don't really. They kind of just talk about their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of little character development between the two. But then it does zoom out to the ship, so we could be getting some PG-13 stuff there.
Okay.
And then we cut to Cat Gang hanging out with Aslan Rege again, and like it's a really good scene because like they're talking about how like Aslan started as a Jedi, but like she completed her training as an Imperial Knight, and now she's like sworn to that order.
Yeah, and she has conflicting ties to each.
Yeah, and like Cat Gang is like, well, just go meditate on it, and I'll do the same. But then he like, obviously he senses something because then a fucking thud bug flies out of nowhere and hits him.
Yep.
And Sin is like, well, here's time to die, trying to murder a Jedi in a Jedi temple. Yeah, and he pulls away Sin's blaster, and then Sin just throws more thud bugs at him, and he's like, "Why are you attacking me? Like, what the hell? You came here with Cade." And Jiraiya's literally just like, "Oh, you killed my dad." It's kind of like in Inigo Montoya, like, "You killed my father, prepare to die."
Yeah.
But then it's a Jedi against basically like a space pirate, so he just uses the Force to push him up against the wall and then tie him up with some vines.
Something I did notice just now, though, is that his lightsaber looks almost like it's made out of York. If you want to scroll up.
Kind of.
Maybe not so much the texture, but like the design is similar.
Yeah. I'm just happy that it appears to be a properly scaled lightsaber.
Yeah, me too.
Too
bad it's a reverse grip.
Yeah, but it's okay because there's no reason to use the reverse grip. Yeah, but Sin's using the reverse grip on his knife.
God damn it.
Damn Xi'an users.
But yeah, he's pinned.
He's pinned up against the wall. Yeah, and then you get Dryacin's backstory, but it's really cool. I love this, like this like bit of scenes here, because you get it from both like Jiraiya's very biased like point of view, where like his dad's a hero who saved his captain and Jiraiya himself and the little girl, but obviously he died. Also, there's the part where Jiraiya goes to run after him, and like, tell me that's not the most intimidating Jedi ever. He's a fucking lion man.
Looking here, especially, and especially the way he's drawn, standing above Jiraiya.
Oh yeah, but see, the thing is, like, it's definitely like. It's definitely from Jiraiya's point of view. So, like, he's imagining him as, like, he's remembering him as, like, this big, scary monster.
Yeah.
Who apparently can get shot in the chest and just tank it.
It's excellent visual storytelling.
Yeah, and then, like, good old Pirate Rav. And the way, like, like I said, the way that Rav talks, he says a lot of "yer." It's not your, it's "yer." Stars take your black bones, Jedi. And
He
even
is
when
a
he gets his
pirate.
even when he gets his legs cut off, it's not it's "yar." He's just a pirate. But it's also cool because it shows how Rav got his shiny cybernetic leg,
Mhm.
and then
This is
Rav feeds
it.
him the propaganda about how like, oh, that Jedi would have killed you all. Arg.
Yeah. This is 26 issues in, and we're finally getting his backstory. They've waited a long time.
Yeah, well, because like it really wasn't relevant till now. Like before now, it would have just been kind of like just random exposition. So it works really good to like introduce this new character
Yeah,
and like tie him in.
we've had enough, and now it's like fully. Now all the puzzle pieces are in place.
Yeah, because like we finally get to see after 26 issues why Dry just loathes the Jedi,
Mhm.
which obviously he's coming from a very like it's literally just the wrong point of view because as we see, Cat Gang is literally just like, no, that is not what happened. Your dad and Rav were like stealing from these miners.
Stole the girl and sold her.
Yeah, and then like
He's in denial too about it.
Oh, he's super in denial because he literally says like that's Jedi poodoo and I ain't no Jedi.
Mhm.
And then Cat Gang is like, shut up, just think about it. But like, I like how he says like I did not seek their deaths. I sought to protect the innocent. I do not like killing, but sometimes the Force wills that we take a life, and sometimes an evil life needs ending.
Mhm.
Like it's very nice.
Great.
Yeah, it's really nice to see a Jedi who did stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
It's so rare.
yeah, and then
The Jedi Order either. I think it's more the story's not exploring that because they deal with
Yeah.
knights of evil. They're like at Sidious's doorstep, but in the movies they're just like we're looking for Sith Lord. Palpatine is the Sith Lord. All you get.
but yeah, then they have a little flashback because he asks like if the girl that they took if she was all right, and then they have a little flashback and Dry just says no, she's not, and then walks away.
Mhm.
And then we cut to the Imperial Knights. Unless you had anything more to say about Cat Gang and how cool he is.
No, that's it. We got it covered.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's like one of my favorite parts of like this like little run of issues. Like they're very well. Besides the Galactic Alliance stuff, they're very very good at interest in. I can't talk. Holy cow! I've been working all day. They're very good at introducing new characters.
New characters and new conflicts that are both interesting. I think this might be my favorite part that we've done. So
Yeah, a lot of these like middle issues here are really good, and then but then we cut back to the Imperials and Azlin Ray and the princess are just kind of having a. She's like, oh, like I know that like you like probably want to leave, but you can't
Mhm.
because if you leave, you like. I don't know if she's specifically saying because I don't remember, but she's like, no, only one person's ever left, and his life proved short. So it's
they're kind of implying that you die if you leave the Imperial Knights, which is a really nice contrast to the Jedi, which I mean you can just leave of your own volition like Count Dooku did.
yeah, and then you get a cool bust in the
Yes.
Jedi Library.
Remember the Lost 20. I wish the deleted scene was in the movie.
yeah, that would have been good. And then we cut back to Cade and his BFF Shado, and I like that Shadow mentions that Jiraiya and Rossi Tomb were like having a chat, and then they hop in, or well, Cade hops in to Shadow's speeder that looks exactly like Luke's speeder.
Yep. Like down to
Um,
the engines being worn out.
Oh yeah, like it's, but I like it. And then they have a like conversation about how like Shadow doesn't just doubt Cade's plan, but like he doubts Cade because like he's always been drawn towards like the like kind of darker path.
Mhm. Like Shadow straight up said that he would kill Cade if he needed earlier.
Yeah, no, I remember that because yeah, Shadow's like he's very forward about it, but he's not like he's not a dick like the Imperials would be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because again, like he's talking to like his best friend, like they've known each other since they were like little kids. So like, he's just giving him like his like complete honest opinions.
Yeah, no, he's being very upfront, and he's really trying to get the true feelings out of him by engaging in lightsaber combat.
Yeah, well, of course, before Cade has to talk about how he would be stopping for a little smoocha with Shadow's sister.
Their chemistry is so good.
Yeah, it's like I think it's Ostrander who wrote this. Like, he must have had like a best friend who like they constantly gave each other shit, and like he based their relationship off of that or something.
Yeah, the only thing that's missing is them calling each other gay.
Oh yeah, like that's literally the only thing.
Which, I mean, obviously you can't do that here.
Well, no, they don't use that word in Star Wars. But no, then they have the ultimate like expression of, well, this is basically just like their sexual tension boiling over, and then they have like it's like the Jedi version of like sexual tension, where finally it boils over, and instead of you guys, instead of you guys need to get a room, it's you guys need to get the training sabers.
Yeah, whip out your lightsabers and show me what you mean.
Well, that sounds like just a euphemism for get a room.
I know it was.
Oh, perfect. But yeah, no, like, so they whip out their lightsabers and start smacking each other around, and then eventually, like, Cade again uses the Force and knocks Shadow down, and then starts to do evil guy things to his best friend.
Sith eyes and everything.
Sith eyes and everything. He literally says that he could use the power to tear him apart in a Jedi temple.
Yep.
And apparently,
why the Jedi temple today?
And apparently, Shadow just doesn't care. He's like, "No, we're good, bro."
Yeah, no, they're all clear. And they get back and the meet Wolf says.
Yeah, I like that Wolf is like, the three of us have a bond. Like, I could feel what you were doing. Like, like I like that. Like, I like that, Wolf was his master, so they have that bond.
And he looks so sad. I just want to give Wolf a hug.
He does. Wolf always just looks so dejected. Like if anybody's ever needed just like a nice hug, it's Wolf Sazen.
Yeah.
Like, he's the saddest man in the galaxy.
I don't think I've ever seen him smile this entire run. God.
But Cade gives some edgy gray Jedi stuff. I'm not a Sith, just like I'm not a Jedi. The ways of the Force are just tools. The dark side has its uses, which I'm sure edgy 16-year-olds everywhere are creaming their pants when they read that.
Oh my god, I'm gonna make an entire code about this shit.
Oh my god, yeah, the Gray Jedi code totally exists. It totally exists, guys. I saw it on Google Images. Trust me.
Dude, it was on Fanon. It must be real.
Yeah, and we'll put it over the terrible fan art of the orange Jedi with the gas mask. Ugh, disgusting. I hate it. Oh, Gray Jedi are terrible. Gross. But anyways, then we go over to.
We could devote a whole podcast to that.
We probably will.
See you 2022. Oh,
Yeah, whenever we get around to it. But then pretty much all like the kind of secondary characters are kind of standing around as the council is deliberating, and they're open to having an alliance with Emperor Fel, but of course they don't want to assassinate Darth Krayt.
mm-hmm.
And the Shadra Fan Jedi literally says that perhaps it's best to allow the natural course and let the Force weaken the Sith until the Order falls in on itself. Which is the most Jedi thing you could probably say.
The most passive bullshit you could ever spell. See, these passing day, we prove Freya more.
Yeah, and then Cade is literally, he has like the best point ever. He's like, how many more worlds does Cade have to kill before the Jedi say enough?
Mm-hmm. Well, he's being proactive, and the Jedi are just, well, this Shadra Fan at least sitting on his ass, or her ass, whatever the hell.
Yeah, at least like Kirk comes in with a good point that he's not doing it for like, he doesn't want to do it for the good of the galaxy. Like his motive is revenge.
Mm-hmm. Which is, I mean, true, but at the same time, like, it would also be for the good of the galaxy. Which is why you should send somebody else to do it.
Yeah, just send Kirk.
Exactly.
Krayt can't kill him.
Literally kill him. He would go to sleep, and then Krayt would be tired, and then he would wake up and kill Krayt.
Yeah, he would just take a power nap, wake up and take a shower, and then finish beating Krayt.
There you go.
But no, yeah, Cade does his Cade thing and leaves.
Pretty much. They decide that fine, if the Jedi are do it, and the Imperial Knights decide they want to tag along.
Yeah, them and along with Aslan Ray, but Hulk Hogan stays at the Hidden Temple Brother.
Indeed. Is Shadow with him or not?
Yeah, Shadow goes with.
Yeah, because he doesn't become Darth Krayt.
Yeah, so then they leave in their rusty old ship, and it's on issue 27, which has a super cool cover again, with Warlock's like claw lightsabers.
Mm-hmm. This entire issue is actually, but it opens up in the deep core lock on his ship, and you know more about the deep core than I do. The NGA.
Yeah, well, basically, to be honest, like the Bane trilogy really does like the deep core best, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
I know Python. I know about how dangerous it is.
Yeah, that's really all you need to know about the deep core. But basically, we just get the first page is just like Darth Warlock's like kind of exposition on like who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
but I don't actually. I actually do like the art. There's some panels that are strange, but I think it's a nice page.
Yeah, it's like it's different, but yeah. Like it's not overly different like the other artist had been. But then we cut straight to the immediate aftermath of Cade escaping, and Milady's just hanging out holding Niles' severed arm. And she's like, oh, yeah, we can put it back on. And Krayt's like, no, fuck off. He failed me. And
he gets a bong on.
Yeah, they give him... Well, it's a nice little thing. In the scene where Milady's talking, you can see Nile floating in like a bacta tank, and like gross stuff is growing out of his arm.
Yeah. Which
was a nice touch because they hadn't said that yet.
Yeah. Actually looking forward when we were covering that issue. But I forgot it wasn't until now that we actually get the explanation.
Yeah. And then basically Krayt like almost like collapses, like he's clutching his heart like he's having a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And then he puts him in the stasis chamber, and Warlock is just going over all this like Sith tomes and stuff. It's really cool because in front of him he has like all of like these like big like Sith books.
Oh yeah. Well, books are always interesting to me in Star Wars because you always see data pads and shit, and now like you actually have like ancient books and tomes.
Oh no, it really just shows how like ancient this knowledge must be and how amazing Star Wars paper must be.
I do want to translate this Arabic and see if it actually means something it's covering.
It's probably just like a really stupid like Easter egg thing that means absolutely nothing.
I'm gonna waste time on it anyway.
Although, if I was a Star Wars artist, I would probably just put like I would just go full on like sixth grader and just like put swear words in the Orabesh.
But after that, we are introduced to Darth Ndedu, who originally appeared in the Republic comic book. I think this is this the same author as the Republic comics? At least the Clone Wars one?
That's a really good question.
Editor, is he publisher? Where's writer at?
But no, while we look that up,
yeah, John Ostrander. I'm pretty sure he did Clone Wars tie-ins.
He did. Yeah, he did do. Oh, he did a fair amount of Republic. He did 46 through 50, 54, 59, 61 to 66.
Yeah,
68 to 78, 81 to 83. So yeah, he did a lot of them, and
I think he did the Quinlan Voss arcs.
Could have been, but yeah, it looks like basically after he was done writing those, he started writing Star Wars Legacy, and he did that straight from 06 to 11. So,
and I guess Darth Ndedu is it his creation, or is that in the Bane trilogy? I don't remember which one came out first.
It would have been in Republic because didn't Bane come out in 07, I want to say.
I'm not sure. I know Jedi vs. Sith came out a lot earlier. I think it was in the 90s.
Ndedu wasn't in that because that literally only covers Path of Destruction.
Mm-hmm. Which might be why Path of Destruction is so much better than the other two. I think it may very well be a creation of.
Yes, it is. Either that or it happened very concurrently. But no, because Ndedu, that's in. Oh shoot! Is Ndedu in Rule of Two or Dynasty of Evil?
Rule of Two, yeah, because he's.
Okay, then.
Where is it? It's not in.
No, because Rule of Two.
Yet, is it?
No, because Rule of Two, he's finding Belia Darzu's holocron. So Ndedu must be Dynasty of Evil. Yep, because as soon as he comes back from getting Ndedu's holocron, he ges captured and brought to Dome.
That's right.
Oh, I don't like that book.
We'll talk about this eventually. Dynasty of Evil.
Yeah, but anyways, Ndedu was made by Ostrander.
Yes.
So that's cool. I suppose because he would have literally thousands of years to just make up a Darth.
Yeah.
But no, I like because Ndedu is also in. He's in that issue where Krayt is conversing with the Sith holocrons.
Yeah.
And I like that the first thing that he asks Warlock is if Darth Krayt is dead yet.
I'm not a huge fan of him. He has his moments.
Yeah. But no, it's just their dynamic. Like if you thought the Imperials were a dick, Darth Ndedu is just a giant dick.
You know, he's the epitome of like self-centered Sith out for himself.
Oh yeah, because he's literally like, I'm obliged only to share my knowledge with the Sith wise enough to command it.
Mm-hmm. And I think Bane has to bypass the gatekeeper in the hologram.
Yeah, to figure out essence transfer. Yeah.
So I don't think it's really in Ndedu's nature to share it with anyone.
except for Set Hearth. No, Set Hearth is like one of the only good things about that book. Unfortunately, there exists no good art of him.
He is a beacon of light.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, but then anyways, Ondedu arrives on Prakith, which well basically I read this before I read the Darth Bane trilogy. So when I was reading that, I was picturing this, which was very nice and helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Because it looks terrible and awful and desolate, and I would never want to go to Prakith.
No, nor should anyone.
No, because it's filled with disgusting cultists.
Yeah, we desperately need clothes.
Oh, yeah, and...
sleeves.
Sleeves. No one wears sleeves in this galaxy. There aren't enough sleeves. Is there a fabric shortage in the galaxy?
I guess so.
But I like the really creepy vibe of it, though. Like, it's definitely a cult thing, because literally once... Because Warlock walks into, like, this big open area, and there's just, like, a bunch of little bubbles, and it's just, like, intruder, intruder, intruder. Like, it's gross, and it's creepy.
The Moon of Bogdan in the Star Wars Bounty Hunter video game. With all the creepy Bandagor zombies. Everything's really dilapidated.
Yeah, well, obviously this is dilapidated because it's kept... Its upkeep is disgusting cultists who belong to the Malevolence, which I'm assuming is what they call, like, Darth Undeadu. Either, like, I'm not sure. Also, they all have lightsabers.
Yeah, but is that an inconsistency? How old is Darth Undeadu?
Darth Undeadu? Oh, he was pre-Revan and Malak.
He's pre-Exarch. Is it pre-Exarch?
I think he would also be pre-Exar Kun, because Exar Kun wasn't that much before Revan and Malak. Yeah. He's an ancient Sith, but
yeah. I don't.
But also like
favors at this point, but it's fine.
Yeah, well, it also helps that like these like cultists also have just obviously been coming like throughout time, so eventually they probably would have just brought the knowledge of lightsabers with.
Yeah.
Also, small little touch. I like how all of the cultist lightsabers are the same because they're a cult.
Oh, they are.
They all kind of have that little like three-prong thing.
Yeah.
Also, they seem to be properly scaled.
Also true.
But no, I like it. I love how Warlock just talks him down. Like, he just treats him like absolute dirt. And then...
I am a Sith. I am what you pretend to be. Let me show you the difference.
And then he casts an illusion, and they start killing each other. It's awesome.
The visuals fantastic, too. Especially his eyes behind him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this again is like some of these issues are just like top tier, like in this entire story.
Mm-hmm. This is Jen. I think Dersema, her last name, is one of the best artists in Star Wars. I think.
Oh yeah, did she also do some of the Republic stuff? Because a lot of the art looks similar from what I've seen.
Wait, hold on. I may have just made a fool of myself. Okay, never mind. She did not do this specific, but she does do the majority of.
Yeah, like the main artist.
Yeah, and she did the majority of Republic too.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because obviously Cook looks the same.
Yeah. But this, well, now I have to give this credit because we just complimented them.
Yeah. I can't help there because I have the omnibus, so I don't have that.
Omar and Francia.
Okay. Well, good job to Mr. Francia.
Good work. I'm sure he'll see this video and
but I love that after Warlock like offs all those people, because eventually he does just use Force Lightning to kill 2 more people, which is cool because he's not afraid to do stuff himself as well.
Mm-hmm. He can get his hands dirty.
Oh yeah. Also, just small thing in the background, one of the Warlock illusions as he's getting struck by lightning looks like he's dabbing, which as a disgusting millennial, I find hilarious. But then the remaining cultist like starts groveling, and Warlock's like, you. His dialogue is just so well written. You have seen only an iota of power I possess. It is nothing to enter your mind and feed your illusions. If I had wished, I could make you see things that would cause you to claw out your eyes. Which is both edgy and very true, because in the Rule of Two book, we see what Zana's illusions can do to people.
Oh yeah, Zana's terrifying.
Oh yeah, ugh. Oh, I hate her visions. Ugh. That's like my. Ugh, I don't like that. I would not want that to happen.
No, me neither.
I'm such a little bitch when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Warlock is. He reminds me of Doctor Doom and how like eloquent he speaks, and like I know Doctor Doom's supposed to be all end all in terms of ego, but he's just so reserved and calm and piss in your face.
Yeah, that's what I like. Like when he's talking, like he like some of his words, like when Warlock's talking, like some of his stuff is like bolded, like he's clearly emphasizing it in his speech, but like his body language, like he's not like yelling or like screaming at these guys. Like he's talking like just in like in like whenever I read that kind of tone, it just for some reason I always read it as like annoyed dad voice, but like he's not like yelling or anything.
He's in a similar vein of like Dooku.
Yeah.
I think it works so much better than yelling.
Yeah, like, well, especially for like a character like Warlock, where like he's like calm, he's in control, he's the number two. Like he doesn't have to inspire that fear like Krayt does, because Krayt's like he's the big bad, he's the emperor of the galaxy currently.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's like the perfect way to say it. So like Krayt like yelling and stuff like to get his points across, it works perfect because he's like the dominant like alpha male in charge.
Yeah.
But then they go down some winding steps because it's ancient architecture. There has to be winding steps.
Of course. And they find the tomb of Darth Ndedu. Surrounded by scrolls.
And lava.
Yeah, of course.
The worst place to store scrolls by.
Yeah.
And then I love the panel where it kind of like bleeds into the other panel of like Warlock jumping down. It reminds me of Dooku when he like levitates himself down.
Yes. Good shit.
And then I love that he tells like the cult guy, he's like, light the torches, but don't touch anything. And then
it's like, yeah.
Then they open up the tomb, and there's a mummy in there. And then, like the image from the holocron's like, oh yeah, just put the holocron on the chest, and all the knowledge will be yours. And then Warlock literally just like brushes it off. He's like, no, I have all your scrolls and books. And then again, he owns the cultist because he's like, oh, what do you wish me to do, man? I doubt you could read your own name in Basic, let alone just sit the runes in these scrolls. You are useless.
See, the torches touch nothing. Perhaps you will live. Perhaps you could die. He spits.
Yeah. Oh, the cultist is just gross. He has like missing front teeth, and then
disgusting Fu Manchu.
Yeah. And then he thinks he's cool. He's like, oh, and then he puts the holocron on the chest of mummy thing, and then it fucking steals his soul.
Yep.
And then Undeadu's brought back to life, and we get a super cool like force duel. But where is? Oh no, the quote I'm thinking of is later, and I love the quote that comes up later. But no, they have a cool like back and forth, and like Undeadu's just like, oh, you're just a slave. You know, you don't have your own vision. You follow someone else's. And then Warlock just like absolutely just like fucks him up.
Just decimates it. And one interesting thing is that Black has blue blood. Thank you.
Yeah, he does. He's a Sangheili, I guess.
But after Warlock throws tendrils of lava at the man, he just starts burning all the books and just wraps Endedu and kills his ass.
Yeah, but the whole thing, it's awesome because all just like within their minds because like it snaps back to it and like they're basically just standing where like the combat started and Undeadu's now a corpse again and Warlock just like it's cool because like you can see in the comic that he's like sweating, so like it clearly exerted him like to have that. Like it wasn't easy.
He's trying to get one of the ancient dark lords of the Sith. Like this is a dark, and it is proving how powerful Sith can be, especially especially Warlock. You can argue it's more powerful for reasons understand later on.
Yeah, and then after that, I just love that like Warlock just like stares at the corpse for a second, and then just nonchalantly just puts him back. Like he's very polite at least.
Just slams it shut. It's like...
Yeah, and then he has a super cool monologue as he's grabbing all the books and scrolls and stuff. He shuts up the like fortress, walks past all the dead cultists, and then flies back.
Yep.
And then we have issue 28, which has unless you had anything more to say about that issue with Warlock.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's his like kind of coming out party where we get it's literally just an issue all about him, which is cool. None of the other Sith in the One Sith get that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then we have at the time that this issue 28 came out, I think there were Knights of the Old Republic comics were still coming out. I think Star Wars something was coming out. I think it was Dark Times.
I think
and then yep, because there's that Dark Times, and then I think it's just probably the regular Star Wars comic. But Vector, this is like it's called the Vector arc, and it's basically just a crossover between all the current Star Wars comics coming out, and obviously it resolves around Celeste Morn and the Rakghouls, which is
it's easily understood within this alone, so you don't have to read the other stuff.
Oh yeah, no, it's very like self-contained. Each of them, except the one that includes Luke Skywalker it's not very good. I'm not a fan of that specific part of this.
I actually didn't know that until tonight that she even met Luke. I knew she meant Vader. And
yeah, she meant Luke. I'm just not a fan of the one. But we open up and there's a Star Destroyer just floating around, and yeah, it's Celeste Morn, and there's some dead Rakghouls dressed in Stormtrooper armor. Very spoopy.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a nice little conversation between her
and Carnus Mur.
Carnus Mur, yeah. For some reason, I could not remember his name because it's always just Mur Talisman.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just having like a back and forth, and Mur is doing the whole Sith thing, and he's like, "Oh, why don't you just give in?" And Celeste is a Jedi, so she says no. So, but
yeah, that's not it.
Yeah, but Mur has a very good point about how like he can't die because he's just in the talisman, so he has all the time in the world to just sit there and wait for another person to possess.
Yeah, it's very true. All these Sith immortality shit.
Yeah, they're pretty good at it, but they get stuck being a corpse until someone puts their holocron on. Yeah. Being in a ugly necklace.
God, you cracked me up earlier. just put the holocron on my chest. No.
No.
Oh,
here.
your book.
Yeah, literally, it's like, well, and then with the Talisman, it's like, oh, put on this really totally not evil necklace. No, but it's gold. No.
Shit, you convinced me.
But yeah, then we cut to the Minok, and they're in hyperspace, and they're planning on luring Crate to Hadabadan, which I know is definitely referenced in some other EU stuff.
Nothing is coming to mind right now.
For some reason, I think they say it in Plagueis, but I don't think that's right.
Well, Plagueis references everything, so
That's true. So he might have, but Hadabadan, it's very cool because it's like a well-known, like specifically EU thing.
Mm-hmm. And so they're heading out. Shadow is training with Jedi training remotes. And the Imperial Knights are talking shit.
Yeah, pretty much, because Ganner is being nice. He's like, oh, that Jedi's really good with the lightsaber. And Antares is like, we're better.
Because we're Imperial Knights.
And he's not even, like, stating that. He's just, like, saying, he's, like, asking, oh, we're better just because we're Imperial Knights? And Antares is like, yes. I don't know what my voice for Antares is. Petulant teenager, but...
No, it's accurate. He's like the Anakin of the series.
Kind of. Oh, apparently... Never mind. Apparently, I just looked it up. Hadabadan first actually appeared in Legacy, but it was originally going to be the name of like the Galactic Capital in George Lucas's stuff. So like, that's where I heard. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was originally the Imperial Capital.
Yeah, which was also referred to as the Imperial Capital.
Yeah, it's just like Imperial City.
Yep.
So they have their little shit-talking thing, and then Aslan Ray's outside the captain's quarters trying to talk to Cade, but he's meditating, and he's meditating with a death stick directly in front of him.
He's testing his restraint. And fun facts: there is a Tusken cycler rifle behind him and a Jawa electric gun. And
well, see, that's the funny thing. I always remember that as the Kyle Katarn electric shooting gun because I first ever remembered it being in Jedi Outcast. And then it's also in Jedi Academy.
That's nice.
It being in Jedi Academy, like, you know, it doesn't matter because you get to start off with a lightsaber. But
yeah.
In Jedi Outcast, it's actually a terrible weapon. It sucks, but it shoots lightning, so it's cool. So they're kind of having like the back and forth, but Cade is trying to, you know, be strong because it's No Nut November.
He's resisting temptation.
He's resisting temptation. He's resisting temptation, yeah, by giving in to temptation of drugs.
Yep.
Just kidding. Cade would never abide by that.
Of course not. Celeste appears before him.
Yeah. And it's not a drug trip because the death stick was
taking drugs.
He was reaching for it. He was gonna. But then no, so she appears and then they're flying around and R2's there, which is nice because it's R2 and we all know who R2 is.
Mm-hmm. I guess the Imperial Star Destroyer has like interdictor.
Yeah, that's I think this established that
so
Hellion class just had interdictors, which you would think that the Imperials would, well, that everyone would just want to put on their ships.
Exactly. But yeah, they are taken out of hyperspace, and there is a spooky Star Destroyer above them.
Yeah, very spooky, and
it's gonna be Death Troopers vibes.
Yeah, I can't remember do they just dock with it, or do they get tractor beamed in?
I think it might be tractor beam.
Oh no, they got us in a tractor beam. Yep.
Yeah,
So
I don't
they
know
go
why they
in-
would just fly into it.
Well, curiosity. Abandoned Star Destroyer in the deep core. Come on, you wouldn't want to just go hang out on that?
No, boy can miss me with the Blackwing virus.
Yeah, but you
That
like
could
horror. You like horror stuff, so this is right up your alley.
Yeah, but I don't want to experience it firsthand.
Yeah, me either. So they land, and then Cade just casually tosses a rat ghoul skull at Shadow. Obviously, they don't know what it is.
And some sort of creature. And
But we do because we're cool and we played KOTOR.
And this comic book has ruined rat ghouls for me. Because now I understand that they have eyes. And it's on the side of their head.
Yeah, KOTOR did it's an amazing game, but it did a terrible job of showing that rat ghouls had eyes.
I thought it was like the xenomorph type situation where they don't have eyes. And like they have like the just nostrils on top of their head or whatever, but no, apparently they do have eyes, and it really bothers me.
No, but yeah, they get attacked by rat ghouls with eyes, which only makes them scarier.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fighting through, but then Aslan gets scratched and Cade gets bit. But like, that's fine. Like, that's it's not a big deal, right? Oh, just kidding, because we played KOTOR. And so Celeste shows up and she commands her rat ghouls to stop. And she like straight up just notices that like Cade and Aslan have been bitten and scratched.
And dunks them into the cell.
And yeah, literally puts them in a cell to die. And she introduces herself, which is very nice of her. That she's a Jedi of the Republic.
Republic that no longer stands.
And hasn't for like
thousands of years.
Yeah. Well, there hasn't even been a like galactic thing called anything like Republic at all since the Yuuzhan Vong War. It's been the Galactic Alliance since like halfway through the war.
What, 100 years? A little less than 100?
Well, a little over 100, because this is in 137, and the Yuuzhan Vong War started in 125.
25. So 110 years-ish?
Yeah. I don't remember the exact date when they decided, but I don't think they really had a choice. When the Galactic Alliance was like officially formed out of the New Republic. But yeah, so she, she's like basically just tells them what rat ghouls are, which we're cool. We don't need to know what they are because
exactly.
Yeah.
We played the games.
Yeah, we played the games. We're cool. We follow the continuity. So they kind of have a back and forth, and she introduces herself, and she reveals that there's that, and then she also says, like, "Oh, your name is Cade Skywalker. I've read the histories on the vessel, and 100 years ago, I encountered your ancestors, Luke Skywalker." And Cade just says, "Never heard of him." Yeah, and then she explains her past about how it's very cool that she mentions that when she met Luke, he wasn't the great figure that he would become. Because at that point, it was still during the Galactic Civil War, so Luke was still very much like Padawan level.
Yeah, trying to learn and fall into his own.
Yeah, because he gets absolutely fucking destroyed by Celeste, because they have a super quick lightsaber duel. And I think Celeste she says something to the effect of like, "Oh, so this is what Jedi are like now?"
He's like, "I only had like 2 weeks worth of training."
That was from an old man, and all he did was let the training drone shoot at me. You're so mean. But no, and then she explains that she explains that how she's been able to live for thousands of years, and it's basically just a combination of the talisman, and she was in stasis until she met Vader,
who broke her out,
Yes.
and I don't know the story with Vader. 'Cause I
Yeah, basically, breaks her out because dark side stuff, and kind of wanted to just like it's another dark force user.
Yeah.
So,
but oh, excuse me.
Yeah, no, it's busy
very
work this podcasting.
Yeah. What are we,
but,
like 3 hours in? More than that? 4?
like 3 hours and 20 minutes, so right on track with our usual timing.
Yep.
Yeah, going through. She basically explains what the Rakghouls are, and they start sweating blood.
Which is disgusting and terrifying.
It's disgusting and terrifying, and then they have to start fighting the Rakghouls again. I don't remember why. I think they're fighting the Rakghouls. Everyone is, and then like Cade, who is now bleeding out of his eyes. He says that he asks like, are Rakghouls caused by a plague? And she says, well, yeah, pretty much, but there's no cure. Not like Cade is the cure. Yeah, so he heals himself and Aslan because, well, of course he
dark
can.
Transfer.
He uses dark transfer. Yeah, very convenient. But he kind of it shows like a flashback of like when him and Aslan were like Padawans, so it's kind of implied that he's using that as like his fuel because Celeste mentions that like the Force is super intense, and Mur is like, oh yeah, it's the dark side, and Celeste says no, he's fighting against it.
Yeah, so he's following like cold advice and like drawing happy things to do it, and it's also establishing a bond between them.
Yeah, which works out really well because obviously we had just had their conversation where like they say that they were like Padawans together.
Yeah, and it also makes Delilah jealous. So
yeah.
And
because then Kashato is trying to cut through the door where Cade is, and Antares is a fucking dick. So he says, "Oh, maybe if I were to use an Imperial lightsaber." Yeah, but then Cade emerges.
Just a dick, but I love him.
Oh yeah, he's such an effective dick. And then Celeste introduces herself to the rest of the gang properly. And then we have a really cool issue cover for issue 29, where it's Aslan and Cade surrounded by Rakghouls, which is spoopy.
And second panel. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
This cover's gorgeous.
Yeah, plus the lightsabers are properly proportioned.
Oh, I forgot to mention, Celeste has a yellow lightsaber. So
she does have a yellow lightsaber. I was waiting to mention that because we have literally every color. We have the reds, blues, greens. Aslan, like you said, kind of has that orangish yellow, and then Celeste just has yellow.
So purple on the cover earlier.
Yeah, purple on the one cover. So everything's covered.
Yep.
And then apparently there's an Imperial garrison on Hat Abandoned. Why not garrison some of your troops in the most hard to traverse part of the galaxy?
Exactly.
And
very attracted to the Sith.
Yeah. And then Shadow's flying a ship. I'm assuming it's like the X-Wing thing. And then Antares and Ganner are flying some of their TIEs, and they're just attacking the Imperials. And then the Minot flies in. Cade and Aslan and Celeste get to jump through the window, which is cool. And there's a Devaronian jump, because the One Sith are the most inclusive bad guys in history.
Devaronians, they just lend themselves to, because they literally look like the devil.
The Devil Man, exactly, yeah. So Like they jump in and like 2 seconds into the fight, Celeste just turns like a bunch of stormtroopers into raccoons.
Really disgusting visuals.
Oh well, it's more blood out of the eyes and mouth and nose.
Yep.
And then like they fight, and like the Sith, like he's like, oh, you use Sith magic, like why are you fighting against us? And Celeste is very upset at that. She says that she's not a Sith and she hates all the Sith.
Which is very Jedi-like.
Yeah, but she's been like brewing for like 4,000 years, so
I don't know, she's not managing very well.
no. And then Cade kind of locks sabers with the Sith and then pushes him into the Rakghouls, and he gets bit. So I think we all know what's going to happen there, because like Cade wants to chase him down, and Celeste is like, no, like we are going to send a message to Crate.
He'll be yep. Be them. And well, we cut to Rowan Fell.
Who was also
Right.
jacked.
Yeah, God, yeah, these very cut.
Yeah, this is like the most like fit group of characters like of all time.
Exactly.
The Minoc must have like a superb like fitness center on it.
Probably.
You know, he's training with
Someone.
someone.
I don't even remember.
Does he even give her name?
No.
No, they don't.
The Mer Talisman and how he wants it.
Because
He uses his weapon. Because he's
Yeah,
an evil
pretty much.
bastard.
yeah, but he wants to use it against Crate, so it's okay. And then he goes back to sparring with his hot blonde friend.
I guess.
Well, as you do when you're the Emperor.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh God, now I have the visual of Palpatine doing this shit.
I bet Palpatine wasn't as jacked, so they wouldn't do that. But
No,
then
he just fetches up his umbar and goes,
but then we get a little conversation between Ganner and Aslan, and it's revealed that Ganner's crushing on Aslan.
Jesus, I know you have feelings for me. And I care about you, but
Yeah, he basically just gives him like you're like a brother to me.
yeah.
I love you too, as a friend.
Well, I care about you, but you're a ginger.
Yeah, I care about you, but like, Cade's shredded. And he saved me from becoming a fucking monster.
He doesn't have sleeves.
He doesn't wear sleeves. Lose the sleeve. God, we would be such great writers.
Exactly. Give us a Star Wars comic book right now.
Right now, please. Alright, so here's my pitch. The Last Jedi, but no one has sleeves.
It's already an infinitely better movie.
Well, to be fair, Rey already doesn't have sleeves.
Then nothing can save that movie.
Yeah, they have like a little back and forth, and then yeah, they like Antares kind of just starts to get really edgy and talk about how like he might have to kill Aslan.
For whatever
And-
reason. Because of her mixed ties.
Yeah,
Uh,
and then Ganner, he just says you'll have to kill me first, because despite the fact he just got like brother zoned, like he's still crushing. And
and
then
Antares is just being unreasonable, too.
oh yeah, but like well, Ganner again being like the reasonable Imperial is like, well, we only serve the Emperor as long as he serves the light side, and if he turns to the dark side, we have to turn him back or kill him. And he tells Antares, like, remember that, because like Antares is trying to like shit talk him because he's letting his feelings get in the way, but like Antares does that too because he's in love with the princess and he's like blindly devoted to the Emperor.
Mm-hmm. It's a Imperial Knight philosophy is very interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We've talked about it, but
And then we cut to Shado, who's just creeping,
wandering around,
just
going to a stasis chamber.
and finds the stasis chamber, and ignites his lightsaber like he's gonna off Celeste. And then she opens her
Does off
eyes,
her.
and then the Mer talisman like crawls onto Shado. And then in the next panel, it's just back on Celeste.
Yep.
So I think that was
reveals
just like a vision that he had, because it says
was.
that he was meditating. Yeah.
You know, it's definitely just a vision because he just kills her, and then it starts strangling him. And then she's like, "Oh, okay, well, maybe if you're having this temptation, you're not as pure as you think you are." Like that.
Yeah, no, it's like really true, because like he says, like, I'm here for Cade, he's my friend, but if he falls, I'll kill him. And then she says, like, yeah, and what if you fall?
Yeah. I'm glad the temptation's there for him.
Yeah, it's good that Shado's not just like a model Jedi. Well, he's a good Jedi, but he isn't like he's not like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
And then
he's still very young.
Oh yeah, because he's the same age. He's roughly the same age as Cade. Yeah, and then we cut over to Dryson and Delia Blue, and they're just chit-chatting about Cade, and Delia's being jealous.
Of course. More relationship drama.
And then Aslan goes to Cade's quarters, and they kind of have a little fight, and then it gets all PG-13 again.
Because Cade fucks.
Cade fucks. He's got sick tats and no sleeves.
Yeah. God, he's such a slut. He frustrates me so much.
But yeah, no, then
oh God, how long? Okay, never mind. They go to her chambers. I thought she was watching them the whole time. Never mind. They go to confront her about the talisman, and
yeah,
Mer playing around and stuff.
Oh yeah, because Mer's there, and like Cade like mentions, he's like, yeah, I feel him, but like he just makes me laugh. And then like Mer kind of gets control of Celeste, because she like goes to like punch him, and then he pushes her, and then yeets two rat ghouls, and then holds his lightsaber in Xi'an grip, which is unfortunate.
I can look past it. I mean, he has one of my favorite lines in the entire series. You surprised me, Skywalker. You made Mer angry. Had an effect on a lot of people.
Oh, it's so awesome. Cade, his chirps are like next level.
It's true though. He's such a dick.
Yeah, and then Celeste goes on about how like Mer has just been like, he wants to find someone that isn't as like strong-willed as her, but like they're bound together, and
and
well, again, Cade has a really good line, because he says that he doesn't care. He's just here to kill Crait, and like to leave his crew alone, because remember what he said about the black hole. Yes. And then both Celeste and Mer at the same time say, "Oh, I'll remember, Skywalker."
And that's it for this issue. And we have two more.
That is very true. And again, it's a really cool issue, or cover for the issue.
I'm still waiting. Okay, there it is. Yeah, it is. It's very stylized. It's good though.
Yeah, well, it's the cover, so it can get away with that. But then it immediately opens up with the Sith who was bitten by the rat ghouls, who is Darth Reeve. That's his name. They don't give it until this, and he, all he does is like fucking turns into a rat ghoul, and then Darth Strife just cuts his head off. Also, I never realized it until my second or third read through that Darth Strife is actually a human.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to tell under, the 50 pounds of tattoo ink.
Like I said, this makes Darth Maul look like a bitch. You have to go like body red and then go back over that with black.
Yeah, like the only person who like got away with it would be like Darth Talon because she's just a red Twi'lek.
Mm-hmm. Even Malady they're like naturally orange.
Yeah. And then there's Nile who he's like, yeah, fuck that noise. But yeah, then Malady points out that that is indeed a Rakghoul, which, well, I like that the Sith know what the Sith. It makes sense that like they know that,
Especially her.
Yeah,
Like she's a Sith biologist. She should know about this.
Sounds like the least most intimidating Sith title ever.
She's a Sith bioterrorist.
I prefer Sith biologist.
Okay, never mind. She's a Sith biologist.
Well, that just makes me think of like my high school biology teacher.
Bioterrorist it is.
Oh, all right, Professor Sith.
But she elaborates on what they are, how long they've been extinct, and
and then they get they just get like a fucking like Skype from Celeste, but it's Mur talking through her. He literally says that, and I like that he says that. He's like, "Ignore this frail mortal form. I reside within the talisman she wears."
I'm not actually a girl.
He's a catfish.
It reminds me of the Scooby-Doo movie where they switch bodies.
Oh God. Oh no. You can play that Irune characters, and then you pull this. But she wants to. They want to have a meeting with Crate, and like Crate literally asks, he's like, "Well, why would I meet with you?" And Celeste, Merlest, points out that they have Cade, and he tries to like play it off, and he's like, "Well, I don't care." And then Mur says, "Well, then you don't care if he dies." So he starts using Force Lightning on Cade, and Crate and his disgustingly long fingernails. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Trim those things.
He is evil, so.
Yeah, that's true. Oh God, he has like Spider-Man fingertips.
But so Crate obviously wants to stop, and I like how like cocky Mur is. Like he's in control of the situation.
Oh yeah,
because he says like it's good that he drops the pretense, yeah. And then he like delves into how he has dark side healing, and he tortured Skywalker into telling him all that stuff. And you need to come to Had Abandon, and
come alone.
And then it cuts to
Crate not coming alone.
Crate, yeah, exactly. With Darth Strife and Darth Talon and a random Rodian who is not a Sith,
but an Imperial officer. It's very strange.
Hard to hate these Sith when they're so not racist.
Exactly. Like, you took the worst attribute they have, and maybe the Sith aren't so bad anymore. And he's talking with about Karnus Mir. Whatever.
Yeah, I like how they talk about like the history of the ancient Sith, and we get a very rare glimpse of proto sabers, which are terrible, and I.
They honestly are.
And one of them is using a proto saber Chien grip.
Just hit the cable.
But yeah, so that's quickly it, and then we do get one of the very like iconic shots of Mur, who has like an pack, standing with all like the Sith, and then Zozan's there, which is, it's a cool little
it's cool
nod to. Well, because Zozan, I believe, only ever appeared in Legacy. I think that's just a creation for this, but it's cool that they like put her in, that she was there.
She's in the Book of Sith too, but that's
it. Well, yeah, because the Book of Sith came out after this.
Yeah.
But Karnus Mir and his awful proto saber, which is yellow, I guess, which is kind of neat. it tells like a little bit of the history of the Sith too, but obviously Karnas Mer was a Sith, so eventually someone killed him and stole his thing, which worked fine because then he just possessed them.
Yep.
And then they go on to just
speculate whether or not he can actually help Crate. Or wants to help Crate, even.
Yep, and then they arrive, and Crate, of course, is not alone. But Mer tries telling him that, they screw around, and how if he kills Skywalker, then Mer gets nothing.
Yeah, it's a nice reversal of power. I do like that.
Well, because Crate literally says when he's talking with Warlock, he's like, remember as I have taught you, Lord Warlock, knowledge is power. Stay with the ship when we arrive. Use all your senses within the dark side of the Force. Seek information about Mer. We still know too little. We must bargain from a position of power. So he does the power move. He just like flips it.
Yeah.
And then they kind of like converse back and forth. And then Mer does start to like heal him because like Darth Strife is literally about to like hop in. Oh God, I hope that's his name. They say it right. Like I'm not crazy.
No, it is Strife. I believe.
It's Strife. Okay. Strife, who again, of course, is like absolutely yoked. The ones that also have an amazing fitness plan.
They do. Everybody in Legacy is just super fit, except well, some of Rav's pirate. That's about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is just a great to live in, apparently.
Well,
aside from all the subjugation and genocide.
Yeah, and the genocide. But yeah, no. Strife starts to he wants to hop in because it looks like Force lightning. So
yeah.
So
which is strange that Mer can actually use this.
Well, I don't think it's dark transfer. I think it's just like a side healing, and it's just neat to show it as
like I guess
the Force lightning thing. Because they're evil, so they have lightning. Because dark transfer is like exclusive to Cade, and then Crate eventually he can use it. So I think it's just like a way for them to show, because reading this, you're so familiar with like that healing used to being like with the lightning.
Yeah.
But also you could kind of look at it like the Orbalisk infestation. Maybe like the coral seeds can just get kind of killed off with lightning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's true.
But then Cade, he pulls a kind of like a Luke Skywalker episode 6, where he kind of just gets his lightsaber out of nowhere. They have fight. I guess that's like the easiest way to put it. But like the Rakghouls are getting in on it.
Like convenient that Celeste got control back when she did.
Yeah. But then it's also very cool. We see Maladi like with a lightsaber, which I think this is the first time that we see that.
It's not the first time. It's the first time she uses it in combat, because she's also threatened Calixte with it.
Oh, that is true. I remember that. Okay. But yeah, so like she squares off with Shadow, which seems like it should be like overly mismatched, because Shadow is like shown time and again to be like a very skilled combatant.
Yeah, she turns it on and then just immediately resorts to Force ability.
Force lightning, yeah. And then of course Cade has to fight with his ex.
Yep. And I love that line, "Miss me that much, did you, sweetheart?"
Oh yeah, come back for more what I gave you. I got plenty.
Yep.
Oh.
Just God, everything about her exudes she's just sexual energy, like down to form combat, everything.
Well, I mean, they definitely didn't make her to capture the teen demographic at all.
Oh no.
No, not at all.
Sexualizing women for majority male audiences.
It's never been done ever. They did go pretty hardcore with Talon, though.
She's not wearing any clothes.
Like, at least Aayla Secura wore pants.
There's like, okay, what if we put her in a bikini with stockings and a little bit of armor?
With some ribbons.
There we go.
Well, she has gloves.
Oh, she does.
Yeah. So they have the fight, and it's just pure sexual energy the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Until Kraid inevitably throws her headfirst into a wall.
Then we come to all 3 of the Imperial Knights.
Yep, and of course, Antares is being an edgelord.
As usual.
Yeah. Ganner being the reasonable one, as usual.
Yep.
They should have done like the buddy cop thing from like that Family Guy episode, where they're like back to back with the crossed arms. This guy, no, this guy. But they're fighting, and then eventually, Antares decides that he wants to turn on Celeste so that he can get the Myr Talisman for Emperor Fel, which doesn't turn out good because, like, she says, "I could feel your intent from half a planet away. You're not subtle."
No, he's not.
No, he's not. He literally runs at her and he's like screaming.
Yeah, he goes, yeah!
But so she just like pushes him headfirst into a wall, which is a very effective way of dealing with your problems.
Apparently, she's very keen on just ragdolling a shit ton of people.
Yeah, and then I love the last page of this because like Strife is like fighting to try and get to Krayt because he's surrounded by the rat ghouls, and then Krayt just blows them all up with force lightning and says it's time for an ending.
You can see why I didn't want to end on this issue.
That is true, but 30 is such a more round number.
But it's part 11 of 12 in this arc.
But yeah, so for issue 31, again, really, really cool. Really cool cover again.
As usual.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of bad ones, actually, in the entire series that I've seen.
I remember you did not like the CG ones.
No.
Then we go to a ship that is full of literally no human Imperial, except maybe the dude behind Warlock, but he looks a little too ugly to be human.
We have a Deveronian female, a Kalish, and
a Barabel.
Is it a Barabel?
It's like, I'm assuming it's a Barabel just because it's a big lizard and it's not a Trandoshan, and Barabels are really, kind of the only other, like...
There's the, what's the Darth Plagueis crisis?
Yanchori.
Yanchori.
That doesn't look like a Yanchori. I'm just going with Barabel. I like Barabels, so I'll say it's a Barabel.
Yeah. That's probably true.
Once again, how can we be rooting against these guys?
They're very inclusive. This is very
well, as long as you're not a Mon Calamari or Quarren right now, like, you're fine. But yeah, so...
We're also just in the way.
Pretty much, and they happen to just be on the planet being genocided. But Warlock informs this. It's just like a throwaway Imperial captain that he's surface.
Yeah, he
says that he senses that Krayt's going to need him soon.
Since Lord Vader is in danger, type situation.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And then we come back to the fight, and
Krayt is dueling Celeste, or in this case, Karness, directly.
Yeah, which it more speaks to like Myr's ability because he's keeping up with like a modern day, very well like honed and trained duelist.
Yeah, whereas he's been trapped in the talisman for 5,000 plus years.
5,000 years, yeah. Because even Celeste, in the Knights of the Old Republic comics, she kills a lot of rat ghouls, and she beats like A New Hope Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're keeping up, and then Aslan and Ganner are like fighting back to back, which I'm sure like makes Ganner super happy.
I don't know. Here it is.
And then
So, you the noob? I am Darth Strife. I am death.
you're just another Sith moron.
Some of this dialogue has not aged well.
That your
Otherwise, pretty
that your
consistent. every
that
time.
your face ugly, or did you shave a womp rat's butt?
Raw!
They can't all be
Sorry.
winners.
To be some outliers.
I like Sin, how he always gets to blow stuff up. Sin, I could use some boom about now.
And Sin is Boom's daddy.
To be fair, that's a very Darius Sin thing to say.
It is.
And then they fucking
No, I'm
blow
not
up Darth
complaining.
Strife.
Yeah, he's dead.
And then eventually Maladi like joins against the fight against Celeste, who is now in control, but shows that she's like still like very powerful because she's simultaneously using Toot Minus on Maladi and blocking Krait's lightning with her lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. And the whole display lights up the sky. And
Oh
she's
yeah,
training too.
Yeah, and
is
so
it Celeste at this point?
yeah, because it doesn't have the
Yeah.
red for her speaking. And then Mur's like egging her on, like, oh, you need to like give in, do the bad thing.
She's like, never.
And you get a really gross close up on her mouth. It's gross. I don't like that.
A little bit.
But then eventually, like now, Cade, he's fighting off Brackles as well, and so is Aslan. And then she just fucking yeets and jumped towards Krayt, and
she calls him a zygote.
yes, I love that line. Compared to me, that's Mur saying it.
Yeah.
Compared to me, you're a mere Sith zygote. I was one of those who created the Sith. And Krayt's comeback is absolutely pitiful. I created my own Sith.
She's like, you're just a sperm and egg cell. And he's like, I created my own Sith. It's a little sad.
Yeah. And then, while they're like kind of having a little showdown, Aslan officially, she yeets Krayt after yeeting herself through the air. And like stabs him like
through his armor?
Through.
It's strange.
Well, if you look at the one panel above where she stabs him, it looks like she's going for like a joint in the armor.
Mm-hmm. But then she stabs through his shoulder.
Yeah. So, well, what she could have done, what she could have done is she could have like went from there and then like angled downward.
Yeah.
So I mean, it doesn't matter. It shows it, so good enough.
Yeah.
And then she stabs him, and then.
Cool episode 3 video game thing where you shock Jedi from Force line and start to go skeletons do.
Oh yeah, yep. And then, I just realized that Aslan has the most boring lightsaber ever.
It is pretty boring.
But it's orangey yellow. So
she just has color diversity. There's that.
Yeah. So obviously Aslan gets caught up. Small little thing. I like that literally the only skeleton you see of Krayt is his hands and his skull.
Oh, me too. It's very interesting.
Because then on Aslan, obviously you see her entire arm, leg, skull, and like a bit of a rib cage.
Yeah. She has like body armor or something too. So you don't really get to see that. But we don't see anything but his skull and his hands because he has that strong ass York.
Yeah, so then it's such a good touch, and then you can see how powerful Celeste Force Lightning was because on the next page, Aslan, when she's down on the ground, has no more hair or eyebrows.
Well, she's been a little singed.
That's like a well done steak, my guy. That's not singed.
Yeah. You can't even taste it anymore.
Yeah. And then Krayt gets yeeted off of a fucking cliff.
Yeah,
which like
barely down.
he's barreling down. To me, literally, like the way that it looks like a shot from like Dragon Ball Z.
Oh no, wait. Well, you have the giant orb of blue energy that he's rocketing from.
Yeah, it works, and then you know, Cade is pissed off because, as far as he knows, like Celeste just killed Aslan, but then you know, she kind of like has a little thing about how like she's losing control to Myrrh, and she's never met anyone like Cade because he's the protagonist. But
Skywalker
yeah.
Phyllis is a lot more reasonable than you are, but maybe this is my turning point.
Yeah. But yeah, so eventually Cade says he gets to do his whole thing. Like, yeah, I know the song and dance. We take what we're given, we do what we must. And he hasn't said that like this entire run.
Mm-hmm.
Like he hasn't said that for a long time, and then yeah, he points out that Zane in like a roundabout way, like in a big picture destiny sort of way, sent him, and then Cade fucking stabs her, and then she dies and just immediately turns to dust, which I really like that touch because she's like almost 5,000 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Myrrh gets to like try and gloat for like 10 seconds, and I love like Cade's thing, just turn down the cackling Sleemo, just gets annoying after a while, and then he explains that he can see every single flaw in it, and then he blows it up.
Thank you, Dark Transfer.
Yeah, exactly. And then he finds out also that Aslan's alive and is trying to use Dark Transfer on her, but like she's like too broken and that she just needs to like be let go. But Cade, of course, he's Cade, so you know
You can't let her go. She has to live.
Yeah. So they bring her on board, and they have to go to Kifex so that Bantha's wife can heal her. And then, of course, you know, since she's an Imperial Knight, the Imperial Knights volunteer to come with. But then,
And Shadow has a badass line where it's like, she was one of us before she was one of you.
I was going to point that out. It's awesome.
I love Shadow.
He's so cool. And then we get to go over to again some super awesome stuff with Warlock, where again he's like narrating himself, saying that for 3 generations, or no, this is just like narration. For 3 generations, Darth Warlock's family has served Darth Krayt, and now for what remains of our master. And he's just like, oh shit, you're alive.
Which, I mean, goes to show how powerful Krayt is, because he's been hit by nuclear reactors worth of force lightning and it fell 300 feet.
Yeah, and he's still but
his arm's facing the wrong way.
His arm's facing the wrong way, like he's in rough shape.
Yeah.
But
he reveals that he's discovered the secret to healing himself and that he can actually fulfill his dream. And
for the one Sith will live.
Then Darth Warlock becomes Malcolm X.
Yeah. It's a magnificent vision, my lord. Sometimes for the dream to live, the dreamer must die. And then
my God. Can't believe Darth Warlock killed MLK.
He just absolutely continues to fry him, takes his body, and levitates him. And that's where we end, because unfortunately the next couple issues are about on Calamari again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's issues 20 to 31. Everyone has Tristan to thank that we didn't end on 30, despite the fact that it would have been an all-round number. But yeah, like overall, like I think that everything just keeps getting better as we go along.
Oh, I agree. This has been my favorite section that we've covered so far.
Yeah, overall, I I still like as a spoiler, like my favorite issues are the last 6 of the whole comic. But besides those, of the main 50 issues, my favorite is I think when it was coming out, it was called Claws of the Dragon. But when Cade is on the Sith Temple in Coruscant, but like that like take nothing away from like these 11 issues, like they're still like outrageously good. Like,
oh yeah, no, the quality is pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Now is when that you have the spin-off stories, but only
Yeah.
because they're not bad. They're just not as interesting by comparison, and I don't think there's not enough entertaining characters in those stories for me to really feel as gripped.
Yeah, that's really true, because for every Admiral Stacey, there's 5 no-name pilots.
Yeah. I do like knowing what's going on in the greater galaxy, though, because this is pretty self-contained.
Yeah, it is, and it's good that you get the little bits and pieces on like what is going on, like you said. But it also does help because eventually those side stories eventually all pay off.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Legacy
then-
Part 3, unless you have any other...
No, not really. We've been talking for good. It's since 9:26, and it is 1:22. So
4 hours.
4 hours, probably crushing any other videos that we've made so far. But I guess that speaks volumes to how good Legacy is, that
Yeah.
you can talk for 4 hours about 10 issues. Yeah, hopefully in the future, because I know you've already read ahead, and I've already read the story. So hopefully in the future, for all the small amount of people who watch this, hopefully in the future, the episodes will be getting churned out a little bit quicker.
Yeah, a little bit more consistent. Have a schedule, maybe. Who knows? Probably not.
Probably not. Just probably more consistent to look for. Probably no more 4-month waits. Plus, we kind of have pipe works of what's happening after this.
Possibly. We have plans. It's just a matter of getting to them.
Yeah. It's apparently this whole hosting a podcast thing requires planning, but I really don't have anything more to say about the issues. Like everything we've said is basically just been contained in the issues when we talked about them. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah.
That covers it.
So yeah, until we see you next time, be on the lookout for hopefully a non 4-month wait.
See you guys later.